By the right of the council, by the will of the force, welcome into another episode of Jedi Talk. I am your co-host, Tom Okery. Yes, you did not hear Brad Hughes' voice right from the get-go. That's because you're hearing mine right from the get-go. I am hailing from Phoenix, Arizona right now before I move to Orlando, Florida in about 30 days or so. But joining me, as always, is the man I mentioned earlier, your other co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, one Brad Hughes. How the hell are you doing today, Brad?
Dude, that was so exciting to hear not me open the show. I can't even express to you how excited I am about that.
Yeah, that was pretty legit, and the fact that we weren't like ready to do that until like 2 seconds ago to break the fourth wall down was pretty epic. So
To break the fourth
thanks.
mother box?
Oh,
look at that.
mother box. Look at that segue. Not even a minute into the episode. Look at that segue.
I love it. What's up, dude?
Not much. Just I'm adoring that it's Friday. It's a 3-day weekend. I've got Monday off. Outside of that, it's hotter than hell here, but looking forward to wetter days and less hot days as I inch closer and closer to move out to Florida.
Well, I wouldn't get your hopes up too high because it is really rainy today. I will say now that the rain has come and gone for the day. Like, this is the kind of weather I expect. I expect it to be nice all day and then rain for like an hour at 5:30 and then the rest of the night be beautiful, and that's exactly what happened tonight. It's probably 80 degrees right now. The humidity's a little high because of the hurricane, incoming Hurricane Elsa, which was just the most ironic thing in the world to me, that like Elsa is going to be a hurricane that hits Orlando. But it's beautiful out, and dude, happy 4th of July. I also have Monday off. I'm excited. This is going to be a good show. We have so much to talk about. But yeah, it's a good night, and I'm telling you, man, 4th of July is one of my favorite holidays of all time. I love the 4th of July. For me, it's like it goes Thanksgiving's my number one, Christmas, then 4th of July. I love the 4th. Yeah. It's up there for me, man. It's just such a fun time to just hang out, relax. The reason why I like it is because there's no expectations, which is why Thanksgiving is my number one. Because the only expectation is you're going to hang out with family, you're going to drink a little bit, and you're going to watch football and overeat.
That's right. No, that's my kind of holiday. If all holidays could be like that, they'd all be tied for first for me.
Right, and it's that's the 4th. Your only expectation is to grill, which I'm doing something unique this year. I watched a YouTube video from the YouTube channel Mythical Kitchen. I don't know if you watch Good Mythical Morning at all, but it's like their sister channel, and it's like the guy's name is Mythical Chef Josh, and what he did was for the 4th of July, he was kind of like they just do really like outlandish stuff. And this year, for the 4th of July, he decided he was going to barbecue out of a watermelon. And I'm following it step by step. And I'm going to do a video on it because it's so ridiculous. He literally just gutted a watermelon, put wood chips in there, put some coals in there, and slow roasted chicken wings inside a watermelon. And that's literally what I'm doing for 4th of July. I can't wait. I'm going to eat a few bomb pops. I love bomb pops.
Bomb pops are the best. I don't think I've had one since 1994 though. But
dude, you got to get on it. They're buy one get one free at Publix. I don't know if you don't have.
I do.
Do you have Publix?
What the hell's Publix? We do not have Publix in Arizona.
All right. Well, you'll see it when you move to Florida. You'll know what Publix is. Publix is like the food shop. It's a little more expensive, but it's better than going to Walmart. I digress. I could talk about the 4th. This could do a whole episode of 4th of July. I love the 4th of July, but we got a lot of stuff to get to, and I want the listeners to know this. I asked you to steer the ship this week because I just wanted to take the week off. You know what I mean? I'm just going to coast. I'm going to let you steer the show. And I'm excited, dude. So what is our first topic we're going to jump into?
Yeah, well, you were mentioning the 4th of July holiday, right? And typically with holidays, especially if you spend it with your family, there's some family drama, There's been some drama in the Star Wars world, specifically surrounding one Boba Fett, everybody's favorite assassin's ship. We know the name of that ship to be the Slave One. And Lego just recently released their most recent collection of the Slave One, but they've named it so eloquently Boba Fett's Starship on the packaging. So, Brad, what the hell? Is this just an appeal to the masses? And it's got a lot of people up in arms. A lot of people got the panties in a bunch about this. And I don't necessarily blame them. But what are your thoughts? Is this Lego just saying, okay, we're appealing to the masses just so we can get more people to buy Boba Fett's Starship versus slapping Slave One on there and not offending certain people that it get offended by everything? Or two, just not wanting to name it Slave One because they know people think we'll pick up on it.
I have two questions. First off, who the hell cares? B, who's offended by the name Slave One? Like, it is the irony of Disney cracking down on the name Slave One. Meanwhile, they filmed a movie in China that they were making specifically for a Chinese audience, that they filmed literally miles away from a Muslim internment camp that was like literally World War II-ing, like Nazi Germany killing Muslims. The audacity of this company to be like, oh, we got to back away from the Slave One name. No, you don't. No one's offended by the name Slave One. Do you know anyone who cares about this at all? Like,
I honestly don't. Other than people who are keyboard warriors and internet wizards, I seriously don't know anybody who cares about this.
Those people are idiots and they eat themselves. Like, they're stupid. Like, if you are legitimately like, my favorite thing ever, and I used to deal with this when I was a comedian. My favorite thing ever was when people would get offended for other people. The idea of a white person, and I don't even like I don't like the argument like, if you're white you can't say anything. That's not what I'm saying here. But like, the idea of a white person on Twitter getting upset that Slave One has been called Slave One for 40 years. And like actually genuinely being upset about that, you just need to go to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't need to be yelling about the name of a fictional starship in a fictional galaxy piloted by a fictional person. Like, what are you doing? Why waste your life being this upset about it? I don't understand. I really, really don't. Like, there's plenty of things you could get upset about. Like, I've said, I actually think that I started this debate because at the time I was writing for Inside the Magic, and then someone stole my idea about an article. Like, why are we getting rid of red from this was my whole thing. Why are we getting rid of red from the Pirates of the Caribbean? But everyone is perfectly fine with a swinging dead body that from suicide in the Haunted Mansion.
I was particularly pissed about the red scene.
It's stupid.
Being a ginger itself. So
it's dumb, dude. Like, oh, I don't like when people tell other people what they can and can't handle. I've never heard any one of my black friends go like, "Hey, man, I like Star Wars, but I can't fuck with Boba Fett because they call the ship Slave One." Like, it's stupid. Like, no one's upset by this. I really think they just do this kind of stuff from time to time just to see the reaction and the pushback. And I have not seen any argument that is substantial that I can go like, oh, that makes sense why someone would be upset by it. No one should be upset by this. I truly don't understand it.
I don't get it. And do you know if Lego's got like a history of just plastering and changing names? Like, the only argument I saw online, again, this was arguments online, didn't hear it from anybody else who's into Star Wars just as much as we are, and is anywhere near a little bit offended to this. But the only people I've seen are the ones online who are saying Lego does this to products all the time, and I'm questioning, is that true, or is this just them trying to make up an excuse?
I wish Evan was here because he's the Lego guy. I've never bought a single Lego set. I do not care about Legos. It is not my thing. But I do know that Lego is like notoriously bad for like spoilering, alerting, like looks of stuff. I remember when like The Force Awakens was coming out, like the first look of Kylo Ren was like a Lego Kylo Ren. I could have my details misconstrued a little bit, but I do remember like Lego sets getting leaked was like a big thing, and there was some sort of character from it that was like I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something to the fact that Lego leaked something out. So it could be them like leaking out like an early name for this going forward. I don't know. I just don't get it. We're literally down. Like, there's so much shit in the world to be upset about. There's so much shit to be upset about, and to be upset about Boba Fett's ship being called the Slave One. Like, I think they should embrace the name. And Boba Fett should like call it that as like a throwback to the Kaminoans, like how he's a slave to the Kaminoans. Like, it could be a thing that they use for an advantage versus it being a negative. Like, there's so many ways you could spin this if you're Disney, and to just be like, we're not calling it that now, is so stupid to me. I do think this. I think that you will not see it be referred to in the book of Boba Fett as Slave One, and they'll just say, go to the ship, get to the ship.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I don't say, "Hi, go to my 2018 Jeep Wrangler and get in the car while we go drive." Like you say, go to the car. Like there's ways that they could do it without doing it that no one would even notice. So like
Right.
I don't even understand why it's a big deal. Like it's dumb to be upset by it either way, to be perfectly honest with you. I think the pushback you're seeing from people is like they're just so tired of this woke shit. Like you're seeing people like like they took out ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls away from the firework opening to be more inclusive. What? What are we doing?
What did they replace it with? Was it just welcome everyone?
I don't know, and that's fine. Welcome everyone's fine, but like, my thing is like the change itself isn't the problem. It's the reason you do the change.
Right.
Like, there's something iconic. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome everyone. Like you could like, I don't care. I don't care, but like. I know it sounds like I care because I'm getting worked up, but I truly don't care about the outcome. It's like the reason you change it. There's a reason why you changed it in the first place. So what's the reason? And the reason is stupid as shit. I'm sorry, it's dumb. Like you can be mad at me. You can say I'm racist. I truly don't give a shit because I know I'm not, and I don't care what you think. But like, it's just really stupid to do all these changes for stuff that is just it's pointless. It doesn't. No one cares. Is anyone watching the fireworks and then being like, "Oh, I don't feel like I was included because they didn't say they"? And if you are, you probably need to go see a therapist. Again, like it's not we can't change. I mean, we are, but for whatever reason, like this generation of kids who were handed a participation trophy at every turn just feel like they're entitled to everything, and you're not. The world shouldn't revolve around how you feel. The world shouldn't revolve around how I feel. If I feel something stupid, it's at the end of the day, it's your problem. And like, you can't change the way everybody sees everything because you're offended. And I always say this, just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. You have the right to be offended. You also have the right to not go to the park. You also have a right to not buy any merchandise that says Slave One. It doesn't matter. And I know it sounds like it bothers me, and it really doesn't. It's just the reasoning is so stupid. And I used to hate when I would be on stage, or other comedians even, like better comics than me, would be on stage and someone would get offended for someone who wasn't there that could hear this potentially and be offended. Like, I remember one time I did a gay joke. I used to have this joke about how one of my gay friends asked me on out to dinner and to go see a concert, and I didn't know that I was saying yes to an unofficial gay date. It was a hilarious joke. I love that joke to this day. But like the whole thing was like, he was like, "Hey dude, so the bit was something to Ken of like, my friend told me he won tickets to go see John Mayer in concert, and he was like, 'Hey, do you want to go?' And I was like, 'Sure, dude, let's go.' And he goes, 'Hey, before we go to the concert, let's go have dinner and go get some drinks, and then we'll go to the concert.' And I'm like, he's like, 'Are you down?' I'm like, 'Hell yeah, let's do this.' And then I hung up the phone and I was like, 'Wait, did I just say yes to my first unofficial gay date?' And I remember doing that joke, and someone was like, 'That's homophobic.' And I'm like,
What?
It's not homophobic. I'm if anything, I'm saying that I'm secretly gay. Like, understand the joke. Like the whole thing is I'm making fun of me. And I remember that there was a gay dude in the crowd, and like, it's horrible to say that now, but he was clearly gay. We all know what that means. If I say the guy was clearly gay, he was clearly gay in the crowd. And I was like, 'Sir, does that joke offend you?' And he was like, 'No, I'd ask you on a date.' And I just remember being like, 'Shut up then. Like, quit telling everyone what they can and can't handle. Like, quit preaching to everyone and telling people what they can't handle. Like, if you can't handle it, then you can't handle it. But not everyone needs you to speak for them. It drives me nuts.
It's to your point you made a few minutes ago about not going to the park if you don't like it, or if something, or like you have that option. The same goes for the other people, the other way around. The ones who are outwardly like, I'm never going to spend another dime on Disney because they're doing this and succumbing to the woke mob and blah 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 blah.
Do it,
Dude,
please.
Go right ahead and stop spending your money.
Vote
You're not
with your
going
wallet.
to.
Vote with your wallet, man. Show them that you hate it. If enough people go like, we've had enough of this, they'll stop. The only reason they're doing it is because they think that Twitter's real, and it's not.
Oh, Twitter's not real. I haven't tweeted in I don't know how many weeks, and every time I go on there, I just go on there to see what's going on in the crypto world. So I'm staying far away from Diz Twitter.
It's not real, man. Like it's really, really not. Like I know people who are good people that say things they don't mean on Twitter because they think they have to. Like I've had conversations with people that are like, no, I don't think. Like I remember back before I got off Twitter, I would say, I'm not gonna out this dude, but I remember, and he's like a very, very vocal person, and I would talk to him like, you don't believe that, and he's like, no, I know, you have to do it on Twitter. I'm like, online. I'm like, no, you don't.
Man.
No, you don't. You're part of the problem. I don't get that I have to mentality. You don't have to. What are you doing? So if you don't say how you feel, you're a liar.
Yeah.
I just that's just how I feel.
Who cares?
So, who cares, man?
Who cares? You're hurting the feelings of somebody that's 1,500 miles away from you in their grandmother's basement in a bag full of Cheetos. Like, that's literally what's going on Twitter. Yeah, who gives a shit?
So what do you think, man? I went on like for 10 minutes about how much it's stupid. And I truly do want to make this very clear. Call it Slave One. Don't call it Slave One. What's going to happen is it's going to be what I call the MGM effect. You can call Hollywood Studios whatever you want to call it. People are still going to call it MGM. You can call Boba Fett's starship Homo One, and it people are still going to call that's a very fun name. I actually would call it Homo One. That'd be awesome. But you could call it whatever you want, and people are still going to call it Slave One. So you can call it whatever you want, but we all know what it's called.
When I first heard the news, I rolled my eyes just because I'm like, okay, are we succumbing to something that doesn't exist again? And it's funny because I had thought about that when I had heard the name of the ship like officially forever ago. I thought, oh, that's okay. It did not offend me, but I kind of, in the back of my mind, because of the kind of world we live in these sensitive times, to steal something from the Impractical Jokers, in these sensitive times, we are thinking about Lawrence.
I was looking for you, Larry.
I just scared my dog.
Crane just make basketball.
Oh my God, that's my favorite skit that they do. Crane basketball.
Me and Holly call each other Crane all the time. We're like, hey, Crane. And I'm still hoping that I run into somebody who goes make basketball and like knows what we're talking about.
Yeah. Ugh. Dr. Shrimp Puerto Rico. Oh my God.
I love the Impractical Jokers, dude. I love that you love them.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I love them so much. But anyway, I digress. We're talking about Slave One. Look, long story short, I agree with what you said. It does not offend me. I haven't met anybody who it does offend. If it does offend you, I'm putting it out there. Like, find me on Instagram at Fourth Motherbox, or on Facebook, the Fourth Motherbox Podcast, and let's talk. Tell me legitimately, why does this upset you? Because is Lego just doing this to appeal to the masses? Long story short, probably. And to Brad's point, they're most likely going to just call it the ship a whole bunch of times on the Book of Boba Fett, just because of the noise that we've made. And I'm talking about not even we, because I haven't even said a goddamn thing about it. The noise that you people have made out there, that you're bitching and complaining about this. If you just didn't talk about it, if you didn't get onto Twitter and just mentioned that these things that are so not important, there are so many more important things happening in the world. Go to the border. Go to unbiased news sites and really dive in to see what the hell's going on in this world. This is not a priority, so stop fucking talking about it online. I know you can only control what you understand, and if this offends you, you probably don't understand a carpet sample from a paint chip that you picked up when you were a child. But
you belong on the show so much. I love you.
I had a mini ginger snaps there, so
that needs to be a segment going on. Dude, you know what's so fucked up, dude? I legitimately heard about the Slave One news before I knew there was a fucking hurricane coming to us.
Oh my God.
You know how stupid that is? Do you know
That's
how fucking stupid it is? I didn't know I needed to go get water and shit because a hurricane's coming, but I knew that people were upset about Boba Fett's fucking starship. It's so stupid. It's such a dumb thing to get upset about. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Bill Burr bit. And you know Burr. You've watched his specials. I'm sure you've seen. Have you seen all of his specials?
Not all of his specials, but I know who Bill Burr is.
Oh my God, he's got a great bit about how he's like, I'm tired of this white guilt shit. This was probably 2008, by the way. So this is way back. and he was
Okay.
like, he goes, have you seen the? He's like, we're down to like swimming. He's like, they're making a movie about like, or, no, what was the bit? Oh, it was I just need to send you the bit, but it's something about like he's like we're down to swimming, like get out of the pool, like it's this whole fucking hilarious bit. And he's like, what's next? What are we gonna do? Ping pong? They were the first all black ping pong team. They're gonna steal the paddles. I'll have to send you the bit. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I haven't watched it in about 10 years, but it made me think about this whole thing. Like this is what we're down to. We're down to
Yeah.
Boba Fett's. Dude, my whole thing is if we had any real problems in this country or in the world, really, I mean, you're bitching about oppression while you're texting about it on an app that you downloaded for free on your $1,500 phone. How oppressed
Yep.
are you? Like, how oppressed are you? For real, like for real. Go tell people in diamond mines in South Africa about oppression when they like it's such a stupid thing to get upset about. I think we really truly don't have any real issues in this country or in the world, and people like to make up shit to be upset about. I truly think that's where we're at. I do. I really do.
And what's sad is that, especially if that is where we're at, and all those true issues are truly being masked, and the people who really do need help and who have major concerns and are just kind of being glossed over, that's sad because people are mad about the name of a fictional ship from a galaxy far, far away.
So stupid, man. It's. I mean, I could go on about how dumb this is for hours, but we have other stuff to get to. So
You know what's not dumb? You know what's not dumb, Brad?
what
That
Tom, tell me what's not dumb. What's not dumb?
fans online, they are or were, no, we are convinced, because I'm going to add myself into this, that EA, Electronic Arts, is about to announce that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2, and I'm getting excited about this because you know I love Fallen Order, that they're about to announce it. There's some events coming up post E3 conference. PlayStation might do like a post-show announcement. A lot of people think that's when they're going to announce the Hogwarts Legacy game, among other exclusive things to Sony. But there was a timely tweet made by Star Wars EA the other day that just said today would be it eclipsed an article. It was like a year later after maybe the release of Jedi Fallen Order, or 2 years later, something like that.
It's got to be 2 because it didn't come out last year, so it's 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years, definitely 2 years. So the article just basically said now would be a good time to go back and play Star Wars Fallen Order. And then the official Fallen Order account retweeted that and just put the line, now would be a good time to go back and replay it. And people are just flipping out. And I'm revving the hype engine up because I'm ready for Fallen Order 2. I don't know about you.
I'm beyond ready, dude. I feel like hang on. I got to fix the levels here. I'm blowing my speaker out here in my left ear. What's happening? What is going on? Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Yeah.
Huh. I
can hear you good.
This might have a buzz to it. If it does, I'll have to go forward with it, but we'll figure it
Okay.
out. But anyway, dude, I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked for Fallen Order 2. I need to go back and play the original one because I've been pretty critical of the gameplay. I didn't love the gameplay. There was a lot of issues I had with it. You know, when you have a lightsaber for 99.99% of the game, and that's a game. What's the mechanic? A game mechanic, and we all know what a lightsaber can and can't do, and you can't cut through a vine. There's some issues there, but I want to know what happens to Cal, man. Like, refresh my memory because I've only played the game through once, and I played it really, really quick over a span of like 3 days.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I played it really, really fast, and I have a really bad tendency of not doubling back on things that aren't movies and shows. Well, not even shows, just movies. Like, I've only seen The Mandalorian season 2 one time through completely. I
just rewatched Return of the Jedi and then the last episode of season 2 back to back of The Mandalorian today. I just felt like doing it. They felt right going together.
That sounds like an awesome double feature.
It felt so right going together. Like, after watching episode 6, I'm like, I really want to watch the last episode of Mandalorian season 2 now. Just to see Luke fuck some Dark Troopers up.
Oh, dude, that sounds awesome. I haven't done that yet. I need to do that. I might do that. I might celebrate America by watching Return of the Jedi and Mandalorian season 2.
Ooh.
What better
Did you
way
and
to
Evan
honor
ever
this country?
watch?
We didn't. We never got around to it, man. I barely see the guy. We're supposed to do. We might save it for you now that we're. I gotta fix this. Let me fix these levels real quick.
Okay. Okay.
Let me finish this thought real quick. We might save the rewatch for when you're here.
Please.
I think that would be awesome. So let me fix these levels real quick because my left headphone is blowing out, and I don't know if it's just these headphones are shitty, or if it's an issue I need to work on. So hang on one second.
Yeah, no problem. Don't mind the technical difficulties, gentlemen.
I'm gonna edit this out. So just keep talking random. Just say shit. I don't care what you say. Talk AS400.
Okay.
I don't care.
No, I'm not doing that. We're done with work.
I just gotta make sure this sounds good because it's blowing my left headphone out, which is weird
Okay.
because it's maybe it's the gain or something. I don't know what this is. I've never had this issue before.
Just in case you don't edit this out, we're going to talk about Fallen Order and what I really want to do.
Oh no, I'm gonna edit it out.
Oh, okay.
This is a big delay. I'm gonna edit this out.
Okay. Okay.
Do you have like a note open up anywhere?
Yes.
Can you just send me 25 minutes so I'll know when to go back and edit this out?
You got it.
Okay. I think we're good. I do think it's
Okay.
just the headphones, to be honest with you, but I can't tell without like stopping and listening back. So we're just gonna assume it's the headphones, and we're gonna go from
Okay.
here. And if it sucks, then I'll know next time, and I can adjust accordingly.
Okay.
All right. All right. So we'll save. So I was gonna say we're gonna save the Mando rewatch for when you're here, and go.
All right. So yeah, please save the Mandalorian 2 rewatch for when I am here in Florida, not here in Phoenix, but when I am there in Florida, please. That would be awesome to watch season 2 over again. It's been a while since I've binged that whole one out. But yeah, episode 6 back to back with the Mandalorian, last episode of season 2 is epic.
Sick. I can't wait to go back and watch it again. That's the only episode of season 2 that I think I watched multiple times. I might be off on that because if you go back, if anyone like digs back and like listens to the episodes when they came out, I may have said I watched them twice in one day, and if I did, then I did. I do not lie on the show. So if I said I watched it twice, I did, but I don't remember sitting down and watching it more than once, but that doesn't mean I didn't. If that makes any sense whatsoever.
I know for a fact I rewatched the Jedi episode with Ahsoka several times. About the same time I watched the season finale too.
Okay, that one I do remember watching at least twice because I was like, the first time I watched it, we watched it with family and they were like talking the whole time, and I like literally had to turn the subtitles on. There's nothing more that I hate than that. I hate when I have to do that. It drives me insane.
Oh yeah.
But I think I fixed it. I think I fixed the audio issues.
Hey, there we go.
Hey, look at that. I think I fixed it. Okay. Yeah, I hate doing that. So like when I hear like that stupid sound in my left headphone, it like I have tinnitus, and so like anything.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, dude. I had it bad today. I was sitting around and I was listening to Taste Buds, and it hit, and it's like an over. Do you have tinnitus?
No.
It's awful. I don't know how you don't have it. Like all the metal shows I'm sure you've been to.
Yeah.
I don't know how you don't have it.
I'm lucky.
You are very
the
lucky.
Heaviest band in the world with Metallica. The 16 times I've seen them, it's been front rail every time.
You've seen them 16 times?
Oh yeah, man. That's like love for me.
That's awesome, dude. That's so sick. I wish I could see my favorite band 16 times.
I'm gonna see them for a 17th time in Daytona Beach in November. Oh, I can't wait,
dude. I would love to. They're one of those bands that like. You know how like the Rolling Stones have been around for a long time. I've never like to me they're like up there with like. Hear me out. So I'm not judging their music to the same bands, but to me they're like Aerosmith and the Stones, Pink Floyd, and bands like that are around that I want to see before one of them dies, because once they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
And it's like I want to see, like I want to see David Gilmour play the Comfortably Numb solo live so bad I can taste it. Like I want to. I had tickets to see The Wall, and I didn't because I had shows I had to do, and I will never regret not canceling those shows.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway. All right. Fallen Order 2.
You were talking about Fallen Order.
Yeah, I think it's gonna happen, dude. I think they're gonna drop this. They have to, right? Like this is a big deal. I didn't realize how much people liked Fallen Order. I also think I think they're waiting for the trailer to drop before they drop Cal Kestis' lightsaber. I've been saying for a while it was going to be October 1st that they drop that
Ooh.
saber because they haven't announced a single thing for Hollywood Studios for the 50th. They've announced the new fireworks show at Epcot and Kingdom, along with like the miscellaneous crap they're doing for the 50th, this is like the worst anniversary in the history of the Walt Disney Company. I just want to throw that out there.
I know.
The 60th I think is going to be awesome because they went hard for Disneyland's 60th, the Diamond Celebration.
I was there for that.
That's awesome. I never got to go, but I do have Diamond Celebration ears that came to Cast Connection when I worked at Disney. For whatever reason, they had those there. So I think the 60th is going to be what the 50th was supposed to be. For Disney World, just the pandemic kind of screwed everything up. And not even just that. I think Bob Chapek coming in kind of screwed everything up. I digress. But I think what they're going to do is they're going to drop the trailer for this, and then immediately afterwards, they're going to drop the lightsaber at Galaxy's Edge for Cal Kestis. And I don't know about you. I do know about you. I'm pretending. I don't know about you, but I'm excited for this lightsaber.
You and me both. I was jonesing with that video you sent me the other day, just looking at that. We need it. We need it.
I love it, man.
You think it's going to be color changing, right?
I do. I think it has to be. Well, I know they've done the only color changing one they've done is the Ahsoka one so far. But I think if they want to like really keep up with the secondary market, I don't know the term for it. Like I call them bootleg. The bootleg lightsabers is they're gonna have to do something like that. Like I know there's lightsabers out there that can do like there's music that goes in them. Like you can turn your lightsaber on and like the Force theme plays. Like it's wild. I think it's a little unnecessary, but like there's not really any practical application for that. But there's a lot of things they could do, and I think the color changing aspect of this one specifically because of how customizable the game is. I think if they don't do color changing, it's a missed opportunity, and I think it's just bad. Like I think they have to do it.
They do because I mean I didn't pick his blue. I went as close as red as possible when I was making my lightsaber the first time.
I did yellow. Yellow's always been my favorite lightsaber.
That's cool.
I don't know why.
That's awesome.
Actually, you know what? That's not true. I kind of do know why. When I was a kid, I remember like those Star Wars novels that came out. They were like the expanded universe stuff. I don't even know the name of the book, but there was a book I saw, and it had a character with a yellow lightsaber on it, and I was just like, I want that so bad.
So when Rey's saber color showed itself for the first time, what'd you think about that?
I lost it. I was so happy.
Nice.
I loved it. I thought it was really, really cool and a cool way to bring yellow into canon, other than the Temple Guards. Because
it's like a perfect color for her.
I think so too. I think that like, and this is not anything to do with like the color wheel or anything like that, but I think yellow is a cool middle ground for light side users.
Yeah.
Because you got the blue and the green, and so like all the best Jedi have green sabers: Luke, Yoda, Qui-Gon, and I think yellow is like a cool middle ground of like it just also stands out. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no yellow lightsaber in canon anywhere up until the Temple Guards in Clone Wars, right?
I don't believe so.
I feel like that's right.
I feel like you're right. I feel like Evan would know too if you were here.
I wish he was here. He's exploring some resort somewhere. Dude, me too. I haven't seen him in forever. Well, that's not true. We did that episode that I had to delete because it was so terrible. But
you know what we should do with Evan? You know what we should do? Because I know he likes
shake him really hard
too.
and tell him to wake up.
Besides that, hold on. I lost my train of thought. Damn it.
Sorry.
All right, bring Evan in here. Obviously, Jedi Talk, and we've got some time planned to do that for the three of us. I won't be live yet, but anyway, I want to do a deep dive into Fallen Order. I don't know if you guys ever did that, where you just explored the story from start to finish, talked about like the Easter eggs, like the Obi-Wan Kenobi Easter egg in there. You talked about the new characters that were introduced. You guys ever done that?
I don't think so, because I think when I did it, he hadn't played it yet at all, and I didn't.
Okay.
It was so recent when I finished the game that I didn't really want to spoil it for anybody.
Okay.
So I feel like we've talked about like the ending and stuff, but you know what's funny? Like I don't remember the Obi-Wan Easter egg.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What is it?
So in the beginning, when Cal meets what's her name? I hate that I'm blanking, but she used to be a Jedi. She cut herself off from the Force. She basically is Cal's teacher. He's like his second Padawan. Um, anyway,
It's Ty. It's
she
not Ty, is it?
no, it's not Ty. I'll get the name in a second.
Okay.
But anyway, there is a holocron on board. They start talking about a holocron because
Oh yes, 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 yes.
that's after they're on Bogano. They go back into the ship, and he says we have to find a holocron with a list of force sensitive children in it. And she goes, "Oh, I've got one," and gives it to Cal to open with the force for like the first time he's ever done that. And it's the message from Obi-Wan Kenobi as soon as Order 66 hit, where he tells everybody, he's like, the Jedi Council has fallen, things have compromised, the Republic is no more.
I remember that now that you say it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What a good game! I want to go back and play it again.
That's why I think, because especially at the end when the end of the game, and it's been a while, and I'm actually in the middle of a replay right now. As I'm boning up and getting ready for talking about it on the show, so I'm in the middle of a replay right now. But I remember towards the end, they want to go find all these force sensitive children, or they want to find a Jedi to restore the Jedi Council. I'm telling you, man, Cal is going to show up in Kenobi.
I hope not. I hope not, and not because I don't like Cal. I like Cal a lot. I like the character.
Yeah, I get that.
I just want this really simple story, and I know I've harped about this for a long time. I just want this really simple story of Obi-Wan finding out that Darth Vader is Anakin. Maybe I wouldn't mind if Ahsoka comes, because for Christ's sake, Ahsoka was his Padawan, and at this point, she would have known that. It would be after the Rebels thing where she finds out, spoiler alert, that's what happens, which is, by the way, top 10 Star Wars moment of all time. That moment is so incredible. It's
the last point of Rebels.
I don't remember how far it is into the show, but it's the show where I think they're in the world between worlds, right? And she, not in the world between. They use the world between worlds. I don't remember. It plays into it somehow, maybe later. I think Ezra pulls her back from that moment. That's how she survives.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that fight between her and Darth Vader, when she hits like the faceplate, and it's kind of reminiscent of Empire Strikes Back when Luke sees the messed up helmet and sees his own face in it. And she realizes that Vader is Anakin, and he just doesn't care and keeps going. Like, I want that moment between him and Obi-Wan. Like, that would be amazing. Maybe not that Obi-Wan finds out that he's Vader that way. Maybe Ahsoka comes to him and goes like, Anakin's still alive, he's Darth Vader. And he's like, what? And tries to like find out a way to bring him back. Like, we know in Return of the Jedi that he says, Obi-Wan once thought as you did, that there was still good in me. We have never seen that in canon. I truly think that one line in that movie is going to be the catalyst for this entire story. I've been saying this for years. I've been saying this since when it was planned to be the Obi-Wan movie. I've been saying that this is what they need to do with this story, because it's one of those plot holes that has been created by George Lucas, who everyone loves and says can do no wrong, but can and did. And I think this would be a really cool way to fill that story in for people like me who watch that and go like, well, when did Obi-Wan say that? Because the last time we see Obi-Wan and Vader together is him burning on Mustafar. And from everything I've thought, and I know I'm not an authority, but everything I've thought was that once Obi-Wan saw that was the last time that they've seen each other until you see him on the Death Star. So fill in that story. That's what I want to see. And so I think bringing in Cal, unless Cal knows somehow that like, and maybe that's the plot of Fallen Order, right? Fallen Order 2, is it like he finds out that this force sensitive being is Vader, and like, I don't know, maybe they think Vader's an Inquisitor or something. I don't know. You could go it 20,000 ways. I will say, if you haven't read the book Force Collector, this could be a really cool way to tie in that. Have you read Force Collector?
I own it, but I have not read it, no.
I'm a little apprehensive to spoil it for you, but I will say there's a point in the book where the main character, I forget his name. Crap, I haven't interviewed the friggin' author. Like, I love this book so much, I contacted the author, Kevin Shinnick, and I was like, please come talk about this book because I love it so much. Did you listen to that episode?
I believe I did. Yes.
He basically wrote episode 9 before episode 9 came out, and they had to rewrite his own book. Like, it's wild. The story's insane. But, like, essentially, there's a misconception from the main character. He hears a Skywalker talking and doesn't understand, because he's getting these, like, forced flashbacks, right? Doesn't understand that Anakin and Luke are two different people.
Mm-hmm.
And so he thinks he's hearing one side of the story, and then it's the other side of the story. I don't want to ruin it for you.
Oh.
But it's really interesting, and I think they could do something with that, maybe with Cal. Like, he's like, Skywalker's a Jedi. And he's like, no, Skywalker's, he's dead, but I'm watching his son here on Tatooine. Like, it could be something like that trivial. But I just don't want them to make this. There's two things I don't want to happen. I don't want to make this a hey, it's a catch-all for Star Wars. I don't want that, and I don't want Clone Wars Season 8. Like, no, I want this to be its own thing, have its own feel. That's kind of how I feel about the show.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near Clone Wars Season 8.5 or Season 9, depending on what you think of the Bad Batch. And we'll get to talking about the Bad Batch later on.
I haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh.
No.
We can take everything up to that.
Spoil it. I don't care about Bad Batch. Like, I'm excited about it, but it's not like I'm not like hanging on the edge of my seat waiting. I don't care. So feel free to please spoil it. I don't care.
I'll definitely spoil it later. I mean, I gave it one watch over today, but real quick with my point about Cal and Kenobi, I don't think he's going to overshadow what's going on. I really feel like everything that we need to see happen, like epic-wise, is going to happen right from the get-go. I think Obi-Wan's going to find out about Vader being Anakin pretty early in the series, and then just to your point, from there, things will kind of take off. I think after Vader knows of where Kenobi's at, he's going to send a bunch of Inquisitors his way. So that's where I think Cal's going to get involved. With just like one episode the same way Ahsoka showed up in The Mandalorian, almost to that effect.
I think you have to have either or. I think you either need Cal showing up or Ahsoka showing up. I don't want both.
Yeah. No, right. And Ahsoka makes more sense.
Ahsoka does, but I think it would be really interesting to bring Cal in. Like, I love the idea of it. Like I said, I just don't want it to be. I want a simple story. Like, I've heard they're like casting Imperial. I don't care about any of that. Most of it's probably just this. I remember when they announced that. What's the dude that played? Oh God, I can't even remember his name. My brain is so fried from today. Who was the guy that was the big bad guy other than Hux in Episode 9? What's the name of the character?
The big bad guy. Palpatine?
No, the First Order officer.
Oh, good Lord.
I know his name. I don't know why I can't think of it.
No, I feel horrible not knowing that.
He's like an Academy Award-winning actor, and he was on the screen for a total of like 8 minutes. So like, I'm not like super. Like, I know people get like super excited about all this casting stuff, and I feel like it's just, especially with Star Wars, it's one of those things where it's like you kind of just gotta go. It's just a minor part, and they just casted a good actor because they need a good actor for this minor part. So I'm not like getting too caught up in that, but I don't want to. I really don't want to do with what a lot of people did with like The Force Awakens and the whole Disney trilogy of like set up these expectations in my head. But I just feel like if you don't tell the story, you're never going to tell this story, because they've already said it's one shot. It's 6 episodes and that's it. It's a one-off. It's basically a movie. It's basically like a 5-hour movie. So I just want a simple story, and if Cal plays into that simple story well, I'm all for it. If it feels forced or weird in any way, I'm gonna be like, I should have just done something else. But I'm all for him showing up if it's appropriate.
Okay, and I think it will be appropriate. I don't think they're gonna shove him down our throat, and that's only, I think, if Fallen Order 2 is on the horizon. So
I think so too.
Oh, yeah, and what speaking of what else is on the horizon. I know you guys, you and Evan specifically, and you and I have talked a little bit about the Acolyte, right? First, before we get into the Acolyte, real quick, and actually, you know what? No, because I have a feeling I know where you're going to go with that. So, the Acolyte, which is rumored to begin production not yet until February 2022, their showrunner Leslie Headland has been very vocal about this series lately. She said a few things. One of them you've shared with me, so I'll kind of let you talk to that. But she recently said the Phantom Menace was a big inspiration to her and to Star Wars. She wants to explore how the Jedi got there and got into power. So this is High Republic stuff, right? This is what the Acolyte's going to be about. She's also said some odd things about making the show, kind of like Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trekky. I think you shared with me too, and I never looked deeper into this because I don't think I wanted to because it scared me a little bit that they hired some writers for this show that don't know Star Wars. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I read. I also didn't go any deeper than you did, but I feel like there's no way to take a headline that says the writers of this new Star Wars show have never seen Star Wars, and then like in the art, like to be fair, there's plenty of articles that have said like this is not, or this is happening, and then you see in the article it's not happening. So I wonder if it's like they've never seen the original trilogy or something. I don't necessarily think you need to have seen and know Star Wars like Pablo Hidalgo knows Star Wars or like Dave Filoni knows Star Wars to write a good Star Wars movie. But I think you need to know. To me, the biggest thing for Star Wars is going to be the aesthetic of it. Like you have to understand what Star Wars looks like, and Star Wars to me does just not look like Star Trek in any way. I don't understand how you could even like confuse the two, and that could just be like me being somebody who sees it up close and like not studies it because that sounds like annoying, but like really appreciates what Star Wars is and like the visuals of it. Like I don't think anyone would walk into like if you lifted if I didn't hear anything about Galaxy's Edge and you put a blindfold on me, I don't think I'd walk in and go, "Is this Star Trek?" Like I don't think that would happen, but I have all my life experiences and all my love of Star Wars to kind of appreciate. But I do feel like Star Wars has a look to it, and I feel like if you don't, but that doesn't necessarily mean the writing, right? Like that could be like the production department that handles all that, like what the sets physically look like, what the look of the characters look like. I don't think you need to know Star Wars to do Star Wars well, but I think you need to understand the universe it takes place in, if that makes any sense.
It makes tons of sense. And I'm kind of pumped that she came out and said that she's into, that the Phantom Menace was a big inspiration. Now,
Yeah, that's a big deal, dude. I mean, like for someone who was 10 when they saw the Phantom Menace, I still think that's my favorite of the. It's not the best of the prequel trilogy, but it's my favorite.
yeah,
And I feel like there's nothing wrong with like being inspired by that. It's an odd thing to be like, well, this team has never seen Star Wars, and what we're going off of is the Phantom Menace. It just seems weird.
not a good start.
It just seems weird. Like it's not the best Star Wars movie. Like I don't think anyone would say the Phantom Menace is the best Star Wars movie. So it's just a weird thing to be like, hang your hat on. Like I've never seen Star Wars, but we're basing it on the Phantom Menace. It's like, unless there's like a 20-minute pod racing scene in this show, like I don't know what you're doing.
3 star, like it's like she's doing everything she can to piss off the OG Star Wars fans. She's got 3 strikes already. One, hiring people that know jack shit about Star Wars. So you're going to bring people into Star Wars that don't know anything about Star Wars. It's going to piss OG Star Wars fans off. 2, you reference the prequels. That's going to piss a lot of people off. And 3, last but not least, you mentioned Star Trek in the same sentence as Star Wars. Like, are you trying to start Civil War?
It's like she went up, looked up a Reddit article and just, what does everyone hate? And just was like, we're gonna feed off of all the hate. I do think it is a cool idea to get somebody who's like not biased in any way, who's not trying to recreate something. There is a lot of cool to this. Like I true, like again, I will never say something I don't believe in on the show, but like there's actually kind of if you really take a step back from your fandom and go like, this could be a pair of fresh eyes. Like, like I don't know if you've ever done this, but like you've done something creative and like you're like, I think I got this. And then you have someone that look at it and go like, does this make sense? And they kind of go like, oh no, this is dumb, and here's why. You kind of go like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, then this falls into place here, and blah blah blah. I think it's a good idea to have somebody who doesn't love it, but is like a good writer. Like for example, my favorite director of all time is Quentin Tarantino. I mean, find anyone who has a better film resume than that guy as far as a director. The only person you might be able to throw up against him is Steven Spielberg. Might. He's had some misses, but like he might be the only person that can go toe to toe with him as far as every movie he's made has been great. The edge I would give to Tarantino is that he's a better writer. But I digress. If Tarantino was doing a Star Wars movie, I would be like, that's interesting because he might not know Star Wars the way we know Star Wars, but there's dialogue and I'm not saying I want him to do a Star Wars movie, but there's certain things that he could bring to the table that would separate it from everything we've ever seen and could make it better. It could make it worse, but it could make it better. And I don't think, despite what the internet says, Disney's not trying to kill Star Wars. There's no. It makes too much money. They are trying to do what they think is the best thing to do. I am very critical of the Walt Disney Company, and I've said so even while working for them. I'm I'm pretty sure that some of the reasons I got in trouble when I was doing podcasts and stuff was because I was so vocal about the overnight parking fees at the resorts that I went really hard on them when that whole thing came out. Anyway, I will never say anything that I don't fully believe in on the show. I don't think Disney is going, how can we ruin this? How can we spend $4 billion on this franchise and run it into the ground? I don't think they're sitting around saying that.
No, they're not doing that.
I think they are trying to do the best thing they can do. And I do think a pair of fresh eyes could be good for the franchise. I do.
Okay. Joel, you've got me convinced, because at first I wasn't that much excited in the Acolyte like I was originally, but the fresh eyes could do a service good, I suppose.
I do think it makes me less excited for the show, but I don't think it means it's going to be a bad show by any stretch. I think I just don't see how they could spend. I mean, dude, if I spend $50 on something, I'm going to want to, like, I bought the Cal Kestis thing, the Black Series figure. I spent $30 on it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't I don't want to sit here and like throw it in the street. You know what I mean? Like, if you're spending $4 billion on something, you're not going to try to ruin it. Now, you could not like what they do with it, and that's totally fine and fair. But they're not actively trying to destroy Star Wars like I keep seeing people complain about. They're not. They're just doing what they think is best. And whether that's good or not is up for debate.
My favorite argument recently, and favorite meaning sarcastically being favorite, saying how the sequel trilogy is going to be retconned by The Mandalorian and everything that's coming out after that.
There's no chance they're doing that. That's just that's so stupid to say. Like, that's just so stupid. That just means you fundamentally don't know how business works.
So funny.
It's a dumb thing. Like, I always go, like, just because you don't like something doesn't make it less valid. Like, I don't love the prequels. Does that mean it's not canon because I don't like it? No, that's not how it goes. It's Star Wars.
Can I make one statement real quick?
Yes, please. Of course. This is your show.
Oh, well, thank you, good sir. Real quick, The Last Jedi is canon. Thank you for coming to my thing. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear any arguments from me on that. I'm actively trying not to do Star Wars, like, Last Jedi things on this. I want one episode where I don't bring up The Last Jedi.
All right. We're still talking about the Acolyte, Brad.
Acolyte. You know, to be fair about The Last Jedi. No, I'm just kidding. No, I do. The headline is scary, and I will go with Star Wars fans where it's like, oh, what are we doing? But I do think if you just kind of take a step back and go, okay, it's just the writers. It's not the entire. It's not like we're making a film and I handpicked everyone who had never seen Star Wars. It's the writers. You can write a good story and not know. Like, you could write a really good story. Like, if you and me sat down for a weekend and I just was like, let's just write a cool story. You could adapt that story into Star Wars. You could find a way to do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it doesn't mean it was intended to be. I truly think what happened was they pitched a movie and it just didn't get wrapped around. And then they pitched it to somebody and they go, that could be a cool Star Wars movie because we could put it this in this time frame and it would pan out and make sense. And they kind of went like, oh, okay, cool. Let's do a Star Wars movie. That's what I think happened.
Okay.
I don't know. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, then I'll eat crow on this episode.
Yeah,
or on the show, rather.
Or you don't have to. It's your show, too. So you could just...
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If the Acolyte comes out and it's the worst thing I've ever seen, I will tell you.
Yeah.
Speaking of the worst thing I've ever seen, Bad Batch.
Bad Batch isn't the worst thing you've ever seen.
Is Bad Batch better or worse than the prequel trilogy as a whole?
I don't think there's enough of it so far to say that.
Well, there's 8 episodes. Let's say each one's 30 minutes long. Okay. The entire prequel trilogy is about 7 hours. 8 times 30, and there's some longer than that. It's about the same runtime. Close.
So, we're close. You're right. So we're talking about the prequel trilogies without the Clone Wars being involved, like the Clone Wars series being involved in that. Are we looping all that into?
No, just the original, or just episode 1, 2, 3.
Then I think Bad Batch is better.
I would agree with you. Attack of the Clones is 1/3 of a disaster.
Yeah.
So you watched the newest episode today. I have not got a chance to watch it yet. I am curious what you think because you told me you thought it was good. You texted me earlier and was like, "It's good. You need to watch it." I have yet to have time, so I'm going to give you the floor. What did you think? And top 3 episodes?
Spoiler alert coming about the Bad Batch, so mark that down. We won't go too heavy. We'll talk about some previous episodes too. But top 3 episodes. No, it's not top 3 because my top 3 are still the first episode and episode the Cad Bane Fennec Shan fight, and then the Wrecker losing his shit episode. They all end up in my top 3 right now. But this one was good, and it wrapped up a story arc, and it wrapped up the Sid arc. So, in long story short, they're out of Sid's debt. Thankfully after this episode, so they're not sticking around and having to run on missions just to make credits just to get out of debt with her anymore.
I was worried that's where this whole show was going.
Yeah, and that's why today, after I thought about it more, I'm really satisfied that they ended that arc, and it's like perfect timing. Good. Almost. So today, after the reveal last week of Omega being special, she's basically a genetic replication of Jango Fett, not touched, special genetic clone. Not altered to advance age like the clone troopers. Okay, so Omega special. Omega turned out to be what we thought she was. So essentially, and still
what I thought she was.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
They didn't say anything about that.
I was like, they went hard.
They didn't mention too much. Oh yeah. They didn't mention too much about Omega. She was kind of the B story in this episode. But so they the episode started out on Raxus, an old separatist senator's home planet being taken over by the Empire. Long story short, the senator was going to comply with everything, and then he eventually said, nope, can't do it for my people. The Empire is coming in to take over, even though they were evil separatists. They had the old school separatist droid, too, that was in the episode. That was kind of cool and a nice little callback. Felt very prequel-y this episode, however, in a good way, if that makes sense.
No, totally. There's good stuff about the prequels. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah. So like the aesthetic was good. It felt really good. So you'll see when you watch the episode. But anyway, the Bad Batch was essentially dispatched to go save the senator. So they did their thing. Had some pretty cool battles with the Empire. Some like old school preliminary like walkers we saw that were like the kind of like on all fours instead of the AT-ATs that we know and stuff.
So wait, did they go to Corellia on this episode?
No.
Okay. Interesting, dude. I'm still you got me hyped for this episode now. I'm excited.
Do it really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh well. They eventually bring the guy back, and when they were away and they left Omega with Sid. Hunter had a conversation because they didn't want to bring Omega with.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I know. I thought the same thing. I said, shit, she's fucked. I said, Sid's like going to sell her to some bounty hunter or some shit.
She kind of already established earlier on. She's like Oga. It's like whatever benefits her the most, she'll do.
Exactly. But, however, what she did take advantage of Omega, what benefited her the most was gambling. It turns out that Omega is really good with strategy. So they were playing I don't know the name of the game. You're going to kill me. It's like the table chess game with the little monsters.
Oh, Dejarik. I have the board game. We'll play when you get here.
Yeah.
I've never played it, so I don't even know how to, but I have the instructions. We'll learn together.
There we go.
That would be a fun video, actually.
Yes, it would be.
Learn to play Dejarik.
So she's figured out Omega's really freaking good at this game. She ends up making a ton of money, enough money that she made Sid that bought the Bad Batch out of debt. So the episode ended. Her and Hunter were sitting down to a game, and Hunter said, "If you beat me, then there's no questions asked. You'll come on every mission going forward." And that's how the episode ended.
Sweet. Okay. Cool. That sounds like a good episode. I cannot wait to watch this now. That sounds like a good that's a good way to kind of do a filler episode.
It was a filler, but it again ended that arc with Sid that I'm a lot happier than I thought I would be about.
Me too. I was thinking that was going to drag on for the whole season. Like now they're just like her little mercenaries, and I was kind of bummed out about that. But that's cool to know.
Yeah. So Bad Batch, we're more than halfway there with the season. What do you want to see out of this series, Brad?
I just want them to address that she's force sensitive. That's all I want. There's got to be some reason that she's special, and I just don't buy that she's special because of the Django connection. Because if that was the case, then Bubba would just be as special.
Mm-hmm.
And so
They're going to tie this into Book of Boba Fett somehow.
They have to. There's a reason. Yeah. Dude, I don't know about you, but when the Book of Boba Fett got announced, that was such a left turn for me. I was not expecting that at all.
I wasn't either. I remember my friend Kyle was super stoked about it. And I'm stoked about it because it's Star Wars content. But at first, I was just kind of like, okay, like I don't know if I want it, but I also do want it.
Yeah. Well, it's Boba Fett, man. I mean, like he's one of the most iconic. I don't need to say this. He's one of the most iconic characters of all time, right? Like, I've said this before. I truly think that the Mandalorian, with the Mandalorian and IG-11, was initially written as Boba Fett and IG-88.
Oh.
And they were just like, no, we have other plans for those characters. But I like your idea, so let's go with that and kind of see where it goes. And I truly, in my like, I feel like if we could like talk to Jon Favreau off the record, he'd be like, yeah, we wrote that as a Boba Fett show. I really think that. I do. It just makes so much sense. Like, the droid looks exactly the same. He's just named different.
Why haven't we gotten Jon Favreau on Jedi Talk yet? I mean, this is world famous.
I don't know. We got really close to having, well, and it's not even like a done deal yet. I don't think I've ever even told you this, but I contacted Eunice Suetamo, the guy who does Chewbacca, and he was gonna come on. It was just during the pandemic, and he was like a new dad at the time. I might be misremembering my facts here a little bit, but reached out to him and like he was aware of the show, which was weird. But
really,
yeah, his cool. According to his publicist, he was aware of the show and would love to come on because they've seen the people we've had on the show, and like it just wasn't a good time at the time, and they were like, please reach out again soon so we can get it scheduled, and I never did.
Okay.
But I want to get him on. But I have a list, and I truly think in the next 6 months we'll have Bill Burr on the show.
Oh yeah.
I know someone who is very close with Bill Burr.
Okay.
And we might have him on sooner than later, just between you and me. No one's listening. That's fine.
No one's listening between you and me. I could do the same thing with Frank Caliendo.
Done. I'd love to have. Just to talk to him again would be awesome. He was such a good. I told you I've hung out with him a few times, and
you did.
He's just a good dude. But anyway,
look at this name dropping comedian.
I feel like, I know I don't like doing this, but it's true. We could get like the whole thing would be once Bill Burr's action figure comes out. That's my
yes.
That's when I'm gonna try to get him on.
Okay. Best of luck to us. You know who I would love to actually interview? I'm a DC guy, so outside of Snyder. No, outside of Snyder, outside of Zack, my Lord and Savior, Zack Snyder.
Can I guess who you're going to say?
Sure. Yeah,
Patty Jenkins.
You nailed it, sir.
I figured.
I would love to, but hey, she made herself. I know you haven't seen Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman 84. Take it or leave it. It was entertaining, but compared to the first Wonder Woman, it blows it out of the water.
Okay.
So Wonder Woman, excellent flick. Patty Jenkins. I'm stoked for Rogue Squadron. I know you're pretty excited for it too. And it just got a writer by the name of Matthew Robinson. We know that this movie's releasing on December 22nd, 2023. So that's like the big Star Wars month and time for movie release. That's typically when they get the episode releases. That's pretty huge.
Yeah, it's a good. I think it's cool to see them go back to December. I mean, I know they did the one deviation with Solo, and that did not work out well.
Oh, it did not. No.
But that's their own fault. They were too busy marketing Infinity War. That's Disney's fault. I worked at Disney at the time, and I worked in ticketing, and people didn't even know that they were making a Solo movie at the time. Like, no one, like, I know it's weird to say it was like an underground Star Wars movie, but I remember the week of, like, I'm so jazzed for Solo. People were like, what are you talking about? And then the only reason people knew about it was because we were selling tickets to the Galactic Nights event. That's the only reason people knew about it.
Oh, man.
Was the week of. That's insane. You work at Disney World.
I mean, I hope they learn their lesson, especially if they want to get a Solo 2 out.
Yeah, I mean, I think
But
if we see any sort of Solo 2, it's going to be a Disney Plus thing, which I think is a better
yeah,
way to do it. Honestly, to be honest with you.
yeah, and we actually just talked about that on a recent episode of Fourth Mother Box. Thank you for joining, and those of you who might have listened to that episode, you heard Indiana Jones fighting a ghost that Brad thought was.
I still, I listened to that the other night just to see, like, I wanted to hear how I sounded, if I sounded like an idiot or if I sounded like I knew what I was talking, because it's something that was just out of my like wheelhouse, like as far as DC goes for the most part. We didn't talk a ton about DC, but I just cracked up laughing and like, he fights a ghost. I was like, wait, what?
That was the best part of the episode, and that's why we named it Indiana Jones Fights a Ghost. But moving along, Matthew Robinson is penning the Patty Jenkins directed Rogue Squadron, coming out in December 2023. Matt Robinson, he wrote Love and Monsters and co-directed The Adventure of Lying with one Ricky Gervais.
I don't know either one of those things. I'm going to check it out now.
Yeah. I'm stoked for Rogue Squadron for lots of reasons. Patty Jenkins is one of them. Just kind of the story, and this is a post Episode 9 world too, right?
Yeah, I mean, has she said where this falls in the timeline? She hasn't, has she?
She has not said much about this yet.
Interesting.
But it's got to be, right? I mean, they're exploring High Republic with Acolyte. You know, they're going post Episode 3 in Order 66 with Kenobi. God knows where Ahsoka's going to be. It's probably going to be somewhere past Rebels.
I think Ahsoka is going to be closer to when you see her in Mandalorian. They just set up too much in those episodes to just wipe that away. I think that it's going to either be parallel to Mandalorian, or it's going to be right after or right before, leading up to. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if like the Ahsoka show starts like 6 months before you see her in Mandalorian, and you get to see her with Mando, and then you get to see what happens afterwards.
Okay.
And I kind of think that's what they're going to do with this Rogue Squadron thing. Is I think it's going to be in the same time period as far as between 6 and 7. I think it's going to be a little closer to 7.
Oh, really?
Just a guess. I mean, the only argument you have of it being an original trilogy is that Disney has not done anything with the original trilogy since they bought it. They haven't. I mean, they've done some books and some comics, but other than that, they haven't done anything. And I think with the Rogue Squadron name, that just evokes, I don't know about you, it just evokes images of me with like the Nintendo 64 and playing all those games and that kind of stuff. But or
that picture in the pilot outfit.
Say it again.
Or that one picture of you on Instagram in the get up.
Yeah, dude, that's what I think of. I don't know. I think this was gonna be, and this is just my little brain kind of like putting pieces together. I think this was gonna tie into the Rangers of the High Republic series that they were gonna do, and this is since Gina Carano got canceled, which is the thing that I was the most. So my number one, and number two from that announcement was the Rangers of the High Republic, because the time period between 6 and 7 to me is the most fascinating thing in Star Wars, because we know nothing about what happens. We know the Empire falls. We know Operation Cinder. We know what happens a little bit after that, and then there's nothing. There's like a 20-year gap between that and Episode 7. So either fill it out or don't. And if you don't, then don't get my hopes up. And then if you do, like, just show me how the First Order comes. I mean, we saw the transition between the First Order and the Final Order in one movie, and we don't know what happens between the Empire and the First Order. And so I would just love to see, like, you know, the rebellion is still standing strong after the destruction of the second Death Star, and we get this, like, I've always envisioned a story. I think I've talked about this publicly. I might not have, but I've been kind of like in my head writing a story about these like ragtag group of pilots who are, it's kind of Alphabet Squadron-esque, but this was before that book even came out that I had thought about, and there's no way to prove that, but I'm just telling you what it is. It was this like ragtag group of like a squadron that was still kind of going around hunting down people who were still standing strong with the Empire after the fall, because not necessarily everybody knew that the Empire fell at the same time. And that was kind of like my take on it. So you'd have like stormtroopers and like kind of what you see in The Mandalorian, with some stormtroopers and like some officials still thinking that the Empire is a thing and not really knowing that it's almost kind of like when you hear the stories of like Vietnam soldiers who fought for like 10 years after the Vietnam War actually ended because they couldn't contact them. Like there's no difference between that and like the
Oh,
story idea, right?
okay.
So that's kind of how I tied it together, and having this like behind like Black Hawk Down like behind enemy lines story with this like the squadron. So I'm wondering if this is kind of the route she's going. I don't know her direction style because I haven't seen any of the movies. But as someone who likes her, do you think she's like a solid fit for Star Wars, or is this kind of like a whoa, why, kind of thing?
No, she's absolutely a solid fit for Star Wars, and I got really jazzed at the video that Star Wars released when they announced this, of Patty talking about how her father was, I believe her father was a real fighter pilot,
Yep.
so runs in the family. So she's going to use a lot of that as inspiration into this kind of movie. So kind of taking what you mentioned earlier about those good points you were making about the Acolyte, maybe somebody that doesn't know too much about Star Wars, but Patty Jenkins does know about Star Wars. She grew up with it. You know, she's probably got similar stories to all of us as how she grew up with it. So it's going to take that knowledge base that's already there, take her style, which is a good style, and she won't have Warner Brothers breathing down her neck. So, I mean, she's going to have Disney breathing down her neck. It's a different story, but um, I think this will be really good for her. I think this will be really good for fans, and I think Rogue Squadron is going to open some eyes.
I think it's gonna be good, man. I'm jazzed about it. Like I've said before, this is the thing I'm the most excited about going forward with Star Wars, and I mean it. I think it's gonna be a really interesting story, and I hope they do it right. I don't want really any story elements from the Rogue Squadron game. I kind of want it to be its own thing.
Me too. Yeah.
But the name is just like so iconic. It's kind of hard not to use the name because none of that stuff's canon, so you can kind of do whatever you want with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm jazzed about it, man. I want to see Love and Monsters now because I'm curious and I want to see the invention of lying. It stars Ricky Gervais, right? So like, is it more of a
Yes.
comedy thing?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I've heard about it, and I've heard spectacular things. Just going to make assumptions that it is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's got Ricky Gervais. It can't be too
Yeah.
serious, I would assume. But you know, you would say the same about Bill Burr. With you're like, oh, Bill Burr is going to be on Breaking Bad, and you're like, oh, he's going to be funny, and it's like, oh no, he's not. The show is still serious. Did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
Uh, you know, binged it like on and off.
Man, you know Ryan Johnson directed 2 episodes of that show, right?
I did not know that.
Yes, he directed 2 episodes of the show. Did you finish it?
Yes.
Okay. He directed, and spoiler alert for Breaking Bad fans, if you haven't watched it now, I mean, what are you doing?
It's too late.
But he directed the episode, remember the episode called The Fly, where like the fly infested the...
Yes.
Okay, that episode sticks out so vividly in my brain, and it's not even like in my top 50 episodes of the show. But it's one of those things where it's like, it stuck with me, and I don't know why, because it was just so weird and interesting. But he also directed the episode where Hank got killed.
Oh, wow.
That was Ryan Johnson. So I remember when they were announcing. That's why I want to know what you thought about Patty Jenkins because I felt like I remember when they announced Ryan Johnson was doing episode 8. I was like, give it to me because he had done that and he had done Looper, and he had done
Yep.
Brick, and those are movies I love. Looper's in like probably my top 10 of all time. I love that movie. Looper's awesome, and I just was like, give it to me. So I wondered if you were like, give it to me, or if you were like, I don't know about that because
Oh,
I love
I'm in the middle
Tarantino,
of, like,
but if
yeah.
he was doing a Star Wars movie, I'd be like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna go. It's one of those things. Is it a good move for Star Wars? Yes or no? You think yes? I think yes. I don't know, but I'm going off what you think because I trust your judgment. So if you think she's good, I'm in.
I do. I think she's good. And like I said, not having Warner Brothers down her neck too, and I can go off about that, but if you want to listen to that again, Fourth Mother Box podcast, where I bitch about Warner Brothers most of the time.
Well, that's like a big thing, right? Like they're like known. Like I don't understand why a studio would hire someone who they think is competent enough to do a job, and then just being like, "Well, we're just going to change everything you said that we agreed to have you do." I don't get it.
It's my whole argument with why they didn't allow Zach to finish his like you needed fucking almost $1 million and 2.5 million fans to get this fucking movie. made, and I'm talking about the Snyder Cut. It's just like you pay somebody to do a job, let them do a job. They're going to crash and burn. Let them crash and burn.
And
For fuck's
the
sake.
thing with him, it was like it wasn't like he's an unknown name. I mean, Zack Snyder is very well respected. I don't.
Yes.
It's not like he hired. I mean, like Ryan Johnson, who had never done a movie on that scale before. I mean, Looper had a high budget, but it wasn't like a Star Wars budget. And I think that he like obviously slam dunked it, but like, I think he mic dropped Star Wars. I think that's why people don't like it so much, is because they secret. Here we go. I think people like that movie so much they hate it. I truly think that. Like, I don't think anyone really hates that movie. I really, really don't.
They don't. Kyle doesn't hate it. Kyle Casantino.
Well, you see, my first jump is like, well, why don't you like it? And they're like,
Exactly.
well, it's just not the Luke Skywalker that I love. And I was like, yeah, in the first 20 minutes, and then that same character comes back. But also, you can't blame Ryan Johnson for what J.J. Abrams set up. I mean, he had to go with what he had. I mean, if you really don't like the sequel trilogy because of Luke, I mean, you kind of got to point at J.J. Abrams. That's his fault.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, like,
it is.
You can go, no, it's not. It's like, no, it is. It's literally a cliffhanger. He's on the side of a cliff at the end of the movie, and it was either Ryan Johnson had the dilemma of going, okay, do we jump ahead 4 years where we just said Luke died and the title crawl and then we move on, or do we like show that story? And I think he did the right thing. I think if people didn't get that, like, could you imagine going to see episode 8 and not know anything about it and like Luke not being in the movie?
That would have sucked.
It would have been awful. Like, wait, what? He died? Like it's just that argument is so stupid. But anyway, God damn it! I was trying not to talk about Last Jedi in this movie.
Brad, here. Let me pull you back in to another movie that people that are very divisive about. Rogue One. However, it's not about the movie. It's about some Star Wars manga that's getting released. Now, is this something that you partake in and read?
No, I'm not a manga guy, but the characters that are involved in this story, it's just another medium now at this point, right? Like it's just like, for me, it's, if I'm interested in the characters and interested in the story they're presenting, I'll read it. Like I'm gonna buy this now. Do you read manga?
No, but my brother-in-law does. I'm gonna ask him about it when I see him tomorrow. Actually, Randy, I'm gonna see him tomorrow. I believe he listens to this podcast. So, hey, Randy, if
What's
you're
up,
listening.
Randy? Shout out to Randy. What's up, bro?
Shout out to Randy. I know he.
Shout out to.
Oh, no. He's not quite Randy Marsh. Randy Marsh.
I thought this was America.
This is America.
Stan.
I am Lord. Yeah.
They took our jobs.
So where were we going with this? Yeah, he reads manga. I'm going to ask him about it because Star Wars Guardians of the Whills is coming out. I'm going to read the description that I ripped right from the website. So, presiding over the Kyber Temple on Jeddah, the Guardians of the Whills, Baze Malbus and Shirit Imwe had hoped to maintain a peaceful balance despite the growing presence of the Empire in their holy city. They struggle to maintain their beliefs as stormtroopers threaten to take over when Saw Gerrera appears, offering them a chance to help Jeddah. How far will Baze and Shirit willing to compromise for peace, or will Saw's plan be too dangerous to risk?
I mean, that there sells me.
Yes, we get Saw Gerrera, more of the mysterious Saw Gerrera, which I've been vocal that I would welcome, even though I like his mysterious background. And then you've got two of the really interesting characters from Rogue One, who I would love to see more about, because they were pretty much already established in Rogue One. They were older. You knew they were protectors of that temple, and especially with them knowing a lot about kyber crystals. They're just interesting characters.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I kind of just go like, okay, like, to me, manga is just like a comic book. I mean, like, it doesn't. I don't care. Like, I'm interested in the story of it. Like, I'll read this. It's a really cool way to tie in some pretty iconic characters. I mean, like, when I think of Rogue One, Chirrut Imwe is one of the first characters I think about, and it's interesting to watch a character who, I really don't want to draw parallels to real life because I just don't want to talk about this, but has belief in something that maybe isn't on his side, or it's interesting. Like, I don't know. I could talk about religion for hours. He, sure,
I see where you're getting at, though.
yeah, like
I get it. I
he's
get
got
it.
a strong
Yeah.
belief in this thing that, may or may not have his
It's not meant
back,
to be.
and it's not necessarily warranted, but he believes whether it's warranted or not, which is what belief should be. Like if you believe in something truly, then it should just be because you believe in it. And it's an interesting story. I love Jeddah, and I actually think that Black Spire Outpost draws a lot of comparisons from Jeddah. I remember telling Holly when I was walking around Black Spire for the first time at Disneyland on opening day that the land reminded me a lot of Jeddah. So
Oh my God! The first time I walked in Galaxy's Edge, I said to Courtney, I said, I don't know where they're pulling this from, but I could see it in my head, and it was
it's Jeddah.
Jeddah.
Yeah, it's Jeddah, dude.
You're
Like
right.
when you're
I
walking
totally
through,
get it now.
yeah, when you're walking through like towards the blue milk stand from Toy Story Land, that whole little awning area is totally Jeddah. It totally feels
Oh,
like
you're right.
feels like Jeddah. It's awesome.
You're
I don't know if I'm like, rushing to read. I'll pre-order so is a manga like a book or does it come out in issues? I mean, I don't even know.
It's a book. It's Japanese. It's like Japanese comic book, really geared more for adults. So it's probably a lot more. It's going to be a lot more violent.
I'm down for that. I mean, you saw
Right?
Chirrut beat the shit out of some stormtroopers with a stick. I'm in.
That was so.
It was awesome.
One of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm down for this, man. Like I would love to know. I mean, he clearly knows some stuff from the Force. Like I actually even wonder if like maybe whatever species he is, because I mean he's clearly human-esque, but that doesn't mean he's human, right? So I wonder if it's like
Right.
his species are like the Chiss, where they start off as Force sensitive, and then over time they like lose their Force sensitivity. That could be interesting, and that's why he's guarding it because he's trying to like hang on to the past in a weird way. I don't know. That's like a whole thing with it. The only thing I don't like about the whole Chiss thing is that they call Force sensitive beings Skywalkers, and that annoys me.
Yeah.
But I could see it being something similar to that. But I'm in for this, man. Like I'll read this in a heartbeat.
Me too. And once I find more about manga tomorrow, I'll definitely. I'm probably going to get more excited about this and pre-order it like I do with everything else.
Can you ask him if it's like a big thing in the manga world that Star Wars is going to be adapted into a manga? Because I'm curious.
I will.
Because I'm so outside that world. Like, is this something where they're like, oh, geez, this isn't real manga? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm curious. So let me know because we can talk about the show, or you can just text me. I'm just personally curious if it's something that
I
they're
will.
like excited about.
Absolutely. Yeah. I will absolutely let you know. And who knows? Maybe this will get you addicted to manga, like you, sir, are starting to get me addicted to the vintage collection and Black Series figures.
Dude, it's such a dark rabbit hole.
And like, look, I've got sabers to collect first. I'm General Grievous over here, and then you sucked me right in with the. I mean, so for the masses out there, I'm segueing into a top 10 list for us, as we do on every Jedi Talk, right, Brad? We do a nice.
Yeah, we
Solid.
try to do it. Sometimes, one of us will forget. Evan forgets to do it all the time. We'll forget to do a top 10.
That's wrong. He ain't here to defend himself.
He's not here to defend himself, but it's what it is. We try to do like news topics up front, and then the last half of the show, well, not half. We're gonna try to do this quicker than normal because it's late here and it's raining. But we'd like to do a top 10 list, and tonight's top 10 list was something I brought to you. And as someone who is just beginning their collection, both of us, I mean, I've been lucky and fortunate enough to come across a lot of TVC stuff just because there's a lot of toy fairs in Orlando. And I think I've got like 50 something now TVC figures.
Ooh.
Or I think technically they're called VC. TVC is the vintage collections. I don't know if they.
Oh, okay.
When you look at the back of and this is something I've been trying to correct myself because like, even in my spreadsheets, I put like TVC 87 or whatever the figures are. But I think I'm up to like 50 something of them.
I have 3.
If you don't, if you don't know what the vintage collection is, it's the action figures you see in the stores and at Disney that are like the new looking. So I always try to explain the figure line to people. So there are like there's like 3 or 4 different types of figures you can collect. You can collect the Black Series figures, which are like the 6-inch scale, highly detailed, come with really cool accessories that are also highly detailed, and they come in really good packaging. They've just recently changed their Black Series packaging. I like the new look a lot, which is the Sorry, rub it in again, but it's the new Cal Kestis figure that I got today. The gaming grades one from GameStop that I had pre-ordered for like freaking months. Finally came in today after like 3 or 5, 17 delays. Then there's the Vintage Collection, which is my personal favorite, which is new looking figures that are a 3.75-inch scale with cards on the back of a card that look like the old Star Wars vintage figures. Then, this is where it gets confusing, there's the Retro Collection, which is the old-looking cards, but modern-day figures that look like they would have looked in 1977 when the Star Wars Kenner figures originally came out. So, like, for example, I have a Retro Collection Grief Karga, and I have a bunch of Retro Collection. I like the Retro Collection quite a bit. And the Mandalorian, they have like a whole Mando series. But so, like, imagine IG-88. I'm sorry, imagine IG-11 if he looked like IG-88 from 1980. When was Empire? 81?
81.
So imagine like 1980 when those figures came out. Then there is the Black Series, which is like a weird mesh of the Vintage Collection and Black Series figures. So it's a 6-inch figure on the card that would look like a vintage figure from 1977. So you get the highly detailed figure with like a vintage card. So what we're talking about today is our top 10 vintage collection. So 3.25-inch scale figure that that they haven't made yet that we want. And I actually have 11 of these, and I couldn't exclude one of them. And I think my honorable mention will be the most shocking one on my list because of the movie it takes place in. So I'm gonna let. You know what? I'm going to go first only because I have this honorable mention and I just want to get it out of the way, and then I'll let you go. Then we'll start our top 10.
This is the figures are your thing. I'm barely getting into this, so go for it.
So my honorable mention for a vintage collection figure that does not, and what we did is we actually went through, thanks to a great website called Bosk Bounty, and we went through each, because there's some that I like put on my list, and then I realized that they actually made the figure and I had to take them off my list. So we went through every single individual. This is not play sets or vehicles. This is strictly. I don't know if you put vehicles on yours. Did you put any vehicles on yours?
I did strictly like figures.
Cool. Okay, so we stuck to strictly figures, and these are ones that do not exist yet, that have not been announced. So if anything happens and they become announced, like my number 2 helmet of all time that the Black Series should have done was Wedge Antilles, and then they did it shortly after. I'm not saying anyone from Hasbro listens to the show, but there's a lot of coincidences that add up that make you think that they would. So my number 11, my honorable mention for this list here is, remember we're talking about, so all right, before we even start this, I want to say that I took into consideration what the card should look like, because for the vintage collection, I would say like 75% of what makes the figure awesome is the card back that it's on. So if you're listening to this and you don't know what I'm talking about, just look up vintage collection figures and you'll see what I mean. So my number 11, my honorable mention for this one would be a I don't even know how to say the word right. Kaminoan from Attack of the Clones.
Kaminoan.
That's it.
Kaminoan.
A Kaminoan. Like the fact that they've never, as important as the Kaminoans are to Star Wars as a whole, you would think they would have a vintage collection figure, and they don't. And I just think like having that like really long neck on a 6-inch scale, or I'm sorry, a 3.25-inch scale would look really, really cool. And the card would look cool, and there's not a ton of Attack of the Clones stuff, even though it's not my favorite movie. I actually do have a few figures from Attack of the Clones, but whatever. It would look really cool to have that card back, and I think the figure would look really, really cool. And they just never really done it. They've never done it in the Black Series, and as far as I can tell, they've never really done it anywhere other than like when the figures came out for the Attack of the Clones stuff. So that's my honorable mention. So I'm more curious about your list because you are more, and I'm also new to this too. I didn't start my collection.
Yeah, but I'm like such a noob, dude.
I am too, man. Like I didn't start this until like May the 4th or something. Like whenever the first Star Wars show was I went to is when I got into figures. And I didn't care about them at all. Like I had a few of them just because I would like, oh, I like that character, I want to buy the figure. But like now I'm obsessed. And my entire garage is like overcome with figures. I don't even know. I'm literally running out of places to put them. Like for real. So I want to know what your number 10 is.
Okay, and just let me preface this by saying, since I am such a noob, I don't know like if there's any unwritten rules about vintage characters. Like if I mention somebody and you say no, this can't be a character for the following reason,
No,
then
no,
whoops.
it can be anything, dude. Like I had a weird one that I put on here that
Okay.
not even yeah,
Okay.
I have a pretty strange one. I actually have one that's like a slash because I didn't want to have two honorable mentions. So
Okay.
it can be anything, dude. Like anything.
All
I mean,
right.
dude,
So
for Christ's sake, they put out a one that I got this week was the Luke from a deleted scene on the Blu-ray.
that's
Like
true.
it can be anything.
That is true. So good. I feel much better about the list then. So my number 10, and this will come as no shock to you, but I want, and I'm setting the stage, the opening, just as Mongolian throat metal plays in the background as you uh, are going closer to a broken down fighter on Braca. I want Scrappers Guild Cal Kestis.
I'm so shocked this wasn't your number one. To be honest with
Oh,
you,
whoa! You just wait until you see what my number one is.
Dude, if Cal is kicking off your list, your list might kick my list's ass.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, but there's a reason Scrappers Guild Cal Kestis is number 10. I'll just say that.
Oh, okay, interesting. All right, that's fair. I mean, like, dude, there's so many different. I have like 9 versions of Luke Skywalker on my wall. There's like
Yeah.
Luke on Hoth. There's Luke from the deleted scene. There's Luke Jedi Luke. There's so many different variations. So that's a good one. Is there any particular reason why you want that? I mean, other than the fact that you love Cal, like I love R5D4.
Yeah, outside of the fact that Cal and I both have no souls in our gingers, so we're ginger brothers. It's the first time we see Cal Kestis in Fallen Order, and everybody knows I'm a big Fallen Order stan, and I'm a huge Fallen Order fan. Being my second time on Jedi Talk, people have probably picked that up already. But moving along, it's the first time we get introduced to such a great character. You know, the youngest Jedi Knight. I want Scrappers Guild Cal Kestis, and now that Brock has been featured on the Bad Batch too, I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. I love the game. I need to go back and play it. But that's a really good pick. And you know what's funny? He didn't make my list.
Oh wow!
Yeah, when you said that, because I was trying to, you know what's so funny? I was talking to Holly about this episode today, and I was like, we're going to do like our top 10 TVC. She's like, ooh, what's your list? And I told her my list. She's like, that's a good list. And I was like, I didn't put Cal Kestis on this list. And the only reason I even thought of it was because I was going to pick up the figure today. And I was like, that's so weird. Like, I'm so excited about this figure, and I didn't even consider it to be TVC. And that's such a bummer. I actually do wish he was on my list.
I'll make up for it, I promise.
But my number 10, watch your whole top 10 list just be different variations of Cal Kestis. That'd be so fun.
No.
Cal Kestis on bot 2. And it comes with a fuzzy Tauntaun accessory. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
My number 10, and this is something that is just like so underrepresented in Star Wars as a whole, as far as like the visual dictionaries that they released for the movie, action figures. There is nothing for this character, and it's baffling to me that Palpatine from The Rise of Skywalker does not have any sort of merchandise. He's not on a fucking t-shirt. He's not a figure on the blacks. Nothing. How dope would friggin' Palpatine look with a black and red cloth cape on a vintage, like hooked up to the Rise of, like that creepy machine from The Rise of Skywalker with that card with that figure on it? Come on.
I mean, first off, that was by far the best version of Palpatine we've ever had.
Oh yeah, he's so creepy and like gross.
Evil.
I love it.
Like, he actually made sense in the movie, but
I mean, I disagree with you, but that's fine. That's a debate for another.
no. I meant his like creepiness as a villain made sense in the movie. Not him
gotcha.
being in the movie.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on him returning, kind of being like, "What? Okay, all right."
It's
whatever.
It's fine. You know, I don't hate it, but like, you know, maybe like lead into it. Like maybe have like my thing would be, and this is kind of a tangent, but if after he kills Snoke in The Last Jedi, and this is not me defending Last Jedi, but if Ben, Kylo Ren, whatever you want to call him, contacted him or something, like that would make more like, and like, wait, who's he talking to? Like he just saw him like kneel down in front of somebody. Like that would be all you need.
Yeah.
I just need one connective thread from what's been set up to this moment. That's all I need is just one thread. But I think having him on a vintage collection figure would be freaking awesome.
That'd be sick. That'd be sick. I love it.
All right, what's your number 9?
Number 9, and I channeled my inner Brad with this one for your love of the Phantom Menace. And I am actually shocked that we don't have pod racing Anakin.
He's on my list further up.
Okay.
That's
I
so
want
funny.
pod racing Anakin, damn it.
I do too.
It's one. You're right. It's one of the funner parts of the Phantom Menace. You really get to see Anakin being a kid, and he gets, you kind of see him in flight too a little bit with the pod racing. See how good of a pilot that he actually is.
Yep.
He's not in the air, but it's setting up the further story, and not just be like, oh, he's kind of like Poe, like, oh, he's just a good pilot for no apparent reason. Like it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'll talk about it a little. I have all the same reasons, and literally all the same reasons you have. But yeah, that's just like it's just odd. It's such an iconic look, like the goggles and the helmet, and just like the pod racer itself is iconic. I mean, it's for me, like, that's the highlight of the prequels. Is seeing I love Jake Lloyd as Anakin, and and I like it more and more as I grow older, because having kids and like. This is gonna get real deep real quick, but like seeing kids as kids is really important, because you kind of see how they change into adults. Like every adult at one point was a kid, just like the Anakin was in the movie, and it's just like it's just cool seeing that character really like go down south. And that sounds really weird to say, but like it's just really It's just a cool arc. It's seeing like such a pure and like jovial kid just become this like evil person who kills kids, and that sounds really weird to say out loud. But like the arc of Anakin, it starts as him as a kid. I mean, there's no other really real way to start that whole thing off. But my number 9, and this should come as no surprise to anyone who knows me, is I almost didn't include this one, but I want it so bad that I had to. Mainly because I bought a Hondo Onaka figure for like $50 or like $25 on eBay. I think it was 25, something like that. Like $25 on eBay. I want a Doc Ondar figure.
He's on my list too.
Good. Okay, good. I have the Doc Ondar like plush from the Toydarian Toy Store, or whatever they call that, the Toydarian Toy Market. I have that.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I just was like, I really would love a Doc Ondar on a TVC card. Like, I think it would just look really, really slick. So,
yes.
I don't even know what you would like, what accessories would go with it. And I tried to look at the whole thing as a collector, like a figure that could have cool accessories. Like the Anakin one we'll talk about later, you could like put a helmet on him and the goggles. It would look really cool. Doc Ondar, he could like have the staff that he has in those like pictures from the Galaxy's Edge. Do you have the Galaxy's Edge Art of Galaxy's Edge book?
No, I don't.
Dude, you gotta get it. It will make you so mad. I love Galaxy's Edge, and I do, but they literally chose the worst option every way they could have with that entire land.
Good.
When you see what
Good to hear.
when you see what was proposed and you see what we ended up with, you're like, God damn it! Why did we get this instead of this? But he's for me, like one of the coolest parts of Galaxy's Edge. Just like having that whole character like expand Star Wars and be like a pawn shop dealer would just be so dope. I would love to have him as TVC. And after my number 8, it gets a lot less cliche. But I want to know what your number 8 is. I'm curious.
Okay. Yeah, and number 8, and get me on a little recency bias maybe, but let's get Cad Bane VC action figure.
That's a good call. He is not on my list either, and I'm really upset that I didn't put him on there.
Yeah. That's okay. I mean, Cad Bane is a certified badass. You want to talk about if you're into old westerns and John Wayne and rough 'em up, shoot 'em up cowboys, this is the Star Wars character for you.
Oh, yeah. He's one of my favorite characters. He's in my top 10 of Star Wars characters by far. I love Cad Bane. Like, I've gone back and just watched episodes that included him because he's so awesome. And his voice is real weird.
Interesting character.
I love him.
Such an interesting character. He would make, and to your point too, I didn't even think about the cards on the back, but he would make a pretty fun one, actually.
Oh,
pretty badass.
And you could come with a little tiny Toto 360. That'd be dope.
Oh, my God. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, right? Hasbro, if you're listening, please listen to this show. It's a good one.
Please, Hasbro. What's your number 8?
My number 8 is, or as we like to call it, Evan's number 1. Uh, Ben Solo. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We got it. And this is where I tell you my list really, really deviates from here. These are like the ones that are kind of a no-duh for me. And on
Okay.
up, my number 1 I think is especially weird. But I think having a Ben Solo figure, like, I just am baffled at the way that Disney markets stuff. Like, there's a Dark Ray Black Series figure, but there's not a Ben Solo Vintage Collection or Black Series. It's so odd to me. Like Dark Ray Vision, like they even call it Dark Ray Vision on the packaging. I have one, and it's so
The
strange.
Black Series one?
Yeah, there's a Black Series Dark Vision Ray.
I want that.
I wish you told me that before. I saw one tonight. I could have grabbed it for you.
Oh, damn. That's all right. And
Do you-
look,
do
I'm
you
going to
want
be at
one?
Disneyland this week. I'm going to be at Disneyland this week. I want to see what's available at Disneyland
They're
first.
tough to find. If you see one at Land, please grab it because they won't be around for. I've only seen 3 in real life, and Holly saw one this morning. If I see one, I'll just grab it for you. You don't have to put it in your suitcase. Like if you really want one, so I'll grab one for you next time I see it.
All right.
But I just find it strange that they never did anything with Ben Solo really or Palpatine, and that's why he made it onto this list.
Okay. That's fair.
I'm more passionate about everything up from here. But
And
these are like just no duh ones. Like you have a whole Rise of Skywalker line, and you don't have Palpatine or Ben Solo in them. But we have another version of Rey, another version of Finn, another version of Poe in the same outfit on a different card. It just doesn't make any sense.
No. And I didn't have Ben Solo on my list, but he absolutely should be. So
For sure.
Number 7, real quick, and I'll say real quick because you did mention him, is Doc Ondar for me. I need all the Doc, especially since how obsessed I am with the sabers and the collecting as of late. Going into the Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities is become one of my favorite things to do, and shit, I kind of rope drop that at Hollywood Studios sometimes.
Oh, dude, it's awesome. Just going in, I will literally just go in and just watch the animatronic and walk out.
Yeah,
It's such a cool animatronic, and the character is cool too, especially if you read the Galaxy's Edge comics, which I don't know if you've read them.
can't wait to dive into them.
Cool.
Like,
I have
again,
them here
once
for you
I'm done
whenever you're here. You can come whenever
Yes.
you're here. I know you're coming soon, so read them while you're here. They're great.
absolutely will do. But yeah, I feel like one of the more he's not obscure to Galaxy's Edge, but he's obscure to Star Wars if you don't know much about Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
And he would just make a pretty badass vintage collection character.
He'd be awesome. He'd be great. Speaking of awesome characters in the background of things you might not know that well, I put number 7 Sebulba.
Sebulba, hell yeah.
Right? The only figure I even know of Sebulba that exists is the one from the episode 1, like the one with the card backs. And I could be wrong. He might not have even shown up there, but I do know that he is in the pod racer that you can buy because Evan bought it for me for my birthday or Christmas or something last year. And there's like an exclusive figure in there. And I was literally moving stuff around in the garage and like trying to get things situated to accommodate you when you're here. And I was looking at it, I was like, why is there no Sebulba vintage collection? And I can't even fathom that there's not. I mean, for Christ's sake, they put out a Ben Quadraneros one. They put out Ben Quadraneros and no Sebulba? What?
That's random.
It's just so
I wonder why.
There's like a few of the, I forget the other guy. There's like 2 pod racer ones, but not Sebulba. I don't understand. It's very odd, and I love that character.
That's pretty good. He's such an annoying prick too.
I love him. He's the best.
Yeah, I know.
Because I'm an annoying prick, and I like him. All right, man. What's your number 6?
Number 6 for me, we're tapping into Rebels, and my favorite Rebels character. But and I almost understand why she might not have a vintage collection character, but Sabine Wren, she's former wielder of the Darksaber for a little bit. I kind of like the twist with her graffiti and the art and the creativity that she leaves. Although it sometimes got the Rebels, the crew of the Ghost, caught a few times when people recognized her art. At least I'm pretty sure in a couple of Rebels episodes. But Sabine Wren, kind of like your not so traditional Mandalorian wielder of the Darksaber. I've always thought she spunky attitude. I just like her. I just like the character.
I think Sabine's a good call, and I know she has a Black Series figure, and that Black Series figure might be coming your way soon.
Oh snap!
But yeah, she that's a good call. That is a good call. Sabine's a great character. And I don't even like to go like she's a good female character. I hate that crap because I feel like that's condescending. She's just a good
Yes.
character. I love Sabine. She's one of the higher points of Rebels for me. You know, it's her and Chopper
Yes, she
all the
fits
way.
perfectly with the Ghost Crew. Yeah.
All right, number 6 for me is I don't even know if you even know who this character is. There's a few of these that I don't even know if you. I mean, I'm sure you do. There's only one that I think you might not. Well, one for sure you don't know, or not for sure, but for sure you might not know. But number 6 would be Captain Kennedy.
Captain who?
Captain Kennedy. So, The Last Jedi, the opening scene with the dreadnought. Should have launched those TIE fighters 4 bloody minutes ago.
Yes.
That guy.
Oh yeah.
Because Star Wars has this like grand tradition of like all these these Imperial officers that everyone loves, and this dude just doesn't get any credit. That dude was such an awesome part of that movie, and like again, just they put out Snoke and like 4 different versions of of Rey, and Snoke and Finn and Poe for these figures, but nothing for any real. I mean, there's not even a Hux figure. Unless I just haven't seen it. There's not a Hux figure, but like he's such a weird, obscure character that I feel like everybody watches him and goes like, yeah, that guy is like, you know, there's certain people where you go like, oh yeah, I buy that 100%. He's one of those characters where you go like, that guy for sure is a first order officer. Like he just looks weird and menacing and evil for no reason. And I just love that character, and I wish they just did more with him. I feel like he's such a cool character they could have done something with, and they just haven't for whatever reason. I love him. Captain Kennedy, 4 bloody minutes ago. I love him.
You're right though. You're right. He fits in so perfectly for like the little bit that he's around on the dreadnought, right?
Yeah, I mean, and he gets blown into pieces like really shortly after, but he fits in so well.
Whoops.
I love that guy. He's awesome.
He'd be a good figure.
Yeah, he'd be a good figure. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like just to have like the officer. Like there's so many first order officer, or I keep saying first order, Imperial officers that like are a thing in Star Wars, and for whatever reason that guy just didn't catch on, and it's just silly because he's an awesome character. All right, what's your next one?
Number 5. My first and only droid. Well, no, not really. But BD1 from Fallen Order. I want BD1, damn it, as a vintage figure. Now, you kind of see, you know, how could that work with such a tiny figure? Well, I obviously want him a little bit bigger, kind of like the same size as like a Yoda might be in the release of those figures. So I mean, he might look a little bigger, but still, I want BD1. He's probably my favorite droid because I'm such a stan for Fallen Order. He's such an integral part of the story, and he gets Cal through so much, and Cal gets him through so much too. You know, they like bond right off the bat because Cal has to fix his leg from getting chopped off. He holds a lot of those, you know, hidden secrets that Cal essentially just needs to break down as he's looking for that holocron of Force-sensitive children. So BD1, for being such an important, he's just an important part of Star Wars history because he's the one that guides Cal to getting that list of, you know, potentially restoring the Jedi Council.
I remember going to the Jedi Fallen Order panel at Star Wars Celebration, and I remember I will never forget BD1's name because the reason. Do you even know why they called him BD?
No.
Because he's your buddy.
Oh my God.
I'll never forget that. I was like, oh, I'll never forget that name now because that's like,
Nope.
He's like the dog. That's kind of how they posed it. It was like he's like Cal's dog. Like he falls in love with this, and he sticks around with him through thick and thin. That's a good call. I do think and this is not obviously not an issue with your list because it's your list. You can do whatever you'd like, but I think he would be really cool as an accessory to Cal.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, you put a BD1 on a friggin' card, I'm buying it. I'll pre-order that bitch in a second.
Oh yeah.
Hasbro, if you want to sell a 1 inch of plastic, I'll buy it in a heartbeat.
I will buy several and keep them because BD1, and I think that's why I love him so much because you named it, you called it. Like he hangs out on your shoulders every now and again, and he's just like a pet.
Yeah,
And I think I get that feeling from like childhood dogs, like Winston, the dog I have now. It's just kind of like I see that bond.
absolutely. It's a good call, man. You have so many good ones that I just didn't. I can't believe I didn't put Cal Kestis on the list. I'm so pissed.
What's your number 5?
My number 5 stems from a figure that I saw a few years ago. I forget why it was out. I think it was like the 35th of Return of the Jedi or something. And it was a die-cast Darth Vader with no helmet. Like, not no helmet, but like, remember how he is... This is very specific, but like the scene in Return of the Jedi where he finds out... not after he finds out that he's his father, but like when he's trying to rescue Vader and he puts him on like the shuttle and you see him really for the first time without his helmet. I want that. I mean, for Christ's sakes, they did Vader getting shocked by electricity from Return of the Jedi. Why not finish it up and show the repercussions of that moment, of that choice?
Yeah, give us the bald white, Uncle Fester looking Darth Vader.
Exactly. I want Uncle Fester Vader. Like, I get why people wouldn't necessarily like rank this high on and why it hasn't been done, but it's one of those things for me for Star Wars where it's just so iconic that like you have to acknowledge it in some way. And I guess they did with that one figure, but I just want him in the TVC. I think it'd be really cool. It'd be cool. I want it. I want a creepy egg-shaped Vader scarred up face on my wall. That's what I want.
What would the accessories be? Would you get his busted up saber? Or?
I think just a tear, one single tear drop out of his eye where he knows. Thought bubble that says just a thought bubble that says like, "Let me look at you with my own eyes."
What about like a busted helmet or something?
That'd be dope. I mean, what about like just a helmet that comes off and reveals the head? That'd be cool. Like just put Vader's helmet on, you can take the helmet off and like show his actual face. That'd be cool.
I'd like it.
I'm down for it. That'd be sweet, right?
Yes. Make it, Hasbro. Come on.
Come on. Hasbro Pulse, do it. All right, what's number 4?
Number 4 is Tarful, speaking of Fallen Order. But Tarful, everyone's second favorite Wookiee, hopefully. At least he's my second favorite Wookiee.
I forgot about this character 100% until you just said it.
Yeah, and I like him because he's kind of obscure. I mean, we see him in Episode 3. We do get more of him. You do interact with him in Fallen Order when you're on Kashyyyk, when you're helping free the Wookiees. It's kind of cool to see a little bit more depth to that character and reason behind why he's such an important Wookiee. Outside of that, I think I like him too, and this is no knock on Chewie, but I like him because he's not Chewie. Because everybody loves Chewbacca. So I like him because he's not Chewie.
That's
so
fair,
I would go with Tarful.
That's a good one. You got some really cool stuff that is just not anything I would have thought of, and that's why I like you on the show. My number 4 we talked about before. It was the Anakin Pod Racer for all the reasons we mentioned before. But I just think, again, I was kind of looking at the entire package, not necessarily a figure I'd want to own, but like how the card would look. Having like that zoomed in thing with him, like with both hands on the Pod Racer, just looking into the cockpit, like straight face on, just would be such a cool card back. God, I want this one now. This one should be higher on my list, I think.
I was actually surprised that this wasn't your number 1.
My number 1 is weird, man. I'll be honest with you. Like I don't even know if it should be my number 1, but it's just something that I feel like is important and we'll learn the ramifications of later. But they never did anything with it, and it's weird because they did a whole line of this thing, and I'm curious why they didn't choose this one character. All right, what's your number 3?
My number 3, pulling from the Mandalorian, because I was scared shitless at first of these guys, but the Dark Troopers. I want a Dark Trooper VC figure, just because how fucking badass they are.
You say Dark Troopers?
Dark Trooper, yeah.
Dark Troopers. Wait, Dark Troopers are the one from Mandalorian, right?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I interrupted you because I thought you were talking about Death Troopers for a second. And I was going to go, ooh, I have one carbonized. No, that was my fault. Sorry. You're right. Dark Troopers are the shit, and also not on my list, and I'm pissed I didn't put them on there.
You're good. But I mean, how did you feel about like that? It was like I felt like it was tense the first time I watched that episode where they're just pounding on the wall, trying to open to get where Grogu and everybody else is at. And especially when Mando fought the one by himself for the first time, I just was like petrified for their life.
Me too. I thought it was going to be one of those situations where this is a story trope that I absolutely fucking hate. And I thought it was going to be like, oh, we disabled the system that controls them. Like you see that with like Marvel movies where like we just got to take out the mothership and then all the other things will fall. And it's like that's like such a common thing. I really thought that's where they were going until we saw the X-Wing come in and I was like, "Oh shit, no they didn't."
No, they didn't.
Oh no, you didn't. I thought that's where they were going with that and I was like, "Please don't like have someone like I found a code that I could, extract from the mainframe of this computer and I deactivated all of that." That's what I thought was going to happen. But luckily, thank God, John Favreau didn't let that happen because that would have annoyed me to no end. I hate that story. Ugh. We've seen it too many times. But dude, that's a solid choice. Did you do those things were practical?
No.
Did you watch like the behind the scenes Mandalorian thing?
Oh, the actual Dark Troopers themselves?
Yes,
I know that. Oh,
isn't that wild? I thought that was CGI the entire time.
That's so freaking cool, though.
That is so dope. And I loved it. I just was like so amazed that like they were able to pull that off. It was insane.
It looked amazing, though. So
all right,
thank you for. So yeah, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is a split one. I couldn't. This is the one that I told you before that I couldn't include as a honorable mention because I didn't want 2 honorable mentions, but I still cheated and did it anyway. So my first part of number 3 is I had to put this one on because as a collector, this pisses me off to no end. BB-8.
Yeah.
There is no BB-8 vintage collection figure. However, I'm looking at the box right now of the Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker vintage collection Poe Dameron's X-Wing. And on the fucking box is BB-8. And it is not included with the X-Wing. But there's a spot for him in the X-Wing. Like there's a spot you could just pop BB-8 into if it existed, but it fucking doesn't. So if you bought the X-Wing and you bought the Poe Dameron figure, you could put Poe in the X-Wing and he wouldn't have BB-8.
How is it supposed to fly?
Thank you. It's so stupid. It's such an oversight. How do you go from The Force Awakens to The Rise of Skywalker and release, again, multiple versions of Rey, multiple versions of Finn, blah, 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 and not put a BB-8 figure out? What the fuck are you doing? Isn't that insane?
It's pretty bad, and Hasbro should be ashamed of themselves. I mean, they would sell so many BB-8s.
But like,
for
just,
God's sake,
just don't put it in the fucking box. Like, don't put it. Like, I was like, oh, so cool. This X-Wing comes with BB-8. It does not come with BB-8. BB-8 is not included with the X-Wing. So it's just, I guess, kids, you have to use your imagination for BB-8. It's so stupid to me that it's not included. But anyway, my slash to this is a character, the only one I think you won't know, is Baron Papanoda. I don't know if it's Papanoda. Do you know who that character is?
Negative.
Okay. He's in, I believe, please, Internet, correct me if I'm wrong. I'll just say it's either Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith. I think it's Revenge of the Sith. He's a background character in a scene, and he's played by George Lucas.
Oh.
That's the reason I want him, is because, for obvious reasons, they've never made a George Lucas Black Series or a George Lucas Vintage Collection or any figure of George Lucas that's official. And I just think it would be a really cool homage to people who know who it is to have that figure on the wall. That would just be dope.
Yes, it would be. And the fact that I didn't think about how obscurely awesome that would be, especially making it the character that he played in the movie. And I think it was Revenge of the Sith.
I think it was, right? Yeah, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was because it was like his last chance to do it, I think. He's talked about it a few times. So I think I just wanted to make sure before I was like, it was definitely Revenge of the Sith. And then people were like, you didn't even know what you're talking about. You hate that movie. It's like, you're right. Attack of the Clones, not Revenge of the Sith. I don't hate Revenge of the Sith. But all right, man, what's your number 2?
Number 2. So we're going back to Fallen Order. Big shocker. Oh, my God. The redhead's talking about Fallen Order again. The first lightsaber battle that you have is, I mean, look, you and I have both given our thoughts on the lightsaber battles and the lightsaber usage as a mechanic in Fallen Order. It could be a lot better, and I hope the sequel improves on it. But with that being said, your first lightsaber battle is difficult. I don't care what setting you have it on; it's difficult, and it's difficult on purpose. And you're battling the second sister. She's the main Inquisitor in the whole, um, game. Obviously, up until the point, and spoiler alert, Darth Vader kills her at the end. But I want a second sister figure because she's such a badass character, and she shows up randomly in Fallen Order. She gives Cal a run for his money every single time, and the fact that she's the former Padawan of the master that Cal is now a Padawan for, whose name I still can't frickin' remember. Um, it's killing me. But
hang on, I'm gonna look it up. You keep talking. I'm gonna look it
okay,
up.
okay. But I want a second sister. The Inquisitors in general, I love just from the fact that there are Jedi hunting, force wielding beings who are trying to either capture the Jedi to turn them into Inquisitors or just kill them. That's such an interesting part because that's a little bit of a deeper, and it goes into how you see that they didn't want necessarily all the Jedi dead. If they were able to turn some of the weaker ones, like the one who Brad's going to look's former Padawan turned into the second sister, probably quite possibly one of the stronger Inquisitors, even though she still had conflict in her. Makes it a super interesting story that I want my second most wanted vintage collection figure.
Is it Sarah or Kara?
Siri
Junda.
Siri. Yep,
Siri.
it's Siri. So
Don't say
the
Siri
second
too loud. Hey Siri.
So Siri is the second sister's former master. I love how she plays into the story, so I want to figure out her.
All right, that's a really good call. My number 2 is remember the very first time you rode Rise of the Resistance?
I do.
And you got through the first scene with Rey, and you're like, "This is going to be badass." And you're rushed towards your ITS transport shuttle, and you hop on that shuttle, and the first thing you see in that thing is, first off, you're like, "Holy shit, I'm on a real spaceship. This is wild." It's not real, but it feels real. And the first thing you see is an animatronic of a little character named Lieutenant Beck. And I would love a Lieutenant Beck vintage collection figure because that character is so dope. And they could reuse, an Admiral Akbar. It'd be really easy for them to do this, which is another reason I think it'd be cool. But just seeing like the picture of him like on the ITS shuttle for the card back would just be, would be amazing. And he's one of the few characters from Galaxy's Edge they didn't really do much with. Like, even Doc Ondar they made a freaking plush of, right? Like, I don't know why they didn't do that with Lieutenant Beck. He's awesome. He's a Mon Cala, dude. Like, come on.
Maybe too close to Admiral Akbar?
Maybe, but like, I mean, they clearly don't. I mean, I'm sure there's some casual fans who don't understand that it's.
I think that's the problem.
That's the problem, probably. But like, they say Beck the whole time, like Lieutenant Beck. I'm Lieutenant Beck. They even say Lieutenant Beck's engaged with Bakari. He pops on the screen with Poe, and your transport is ready. Like the whole deal, like, and it's James Arnold Taylor voicing him, and it's just to me, just like it encapsulates all of Star Wars. I know it's a weird thing to say, but I just love him. Sense. I love that character. I love Mon Cala. Akbar is one of my favorites. I bought 4 Admiral Akbar vintage collection figures. I bought one for the wall, one to open, and then one for my son. And then maybe it was only 3. Might have been 3, but no, I bought 2 of them because I was like, which one of these cards is better? I love Akbar, so give me Lieutenant Beck all day, dude. I'm in.
All right. Lieutenant Beck it is. And Rise is so important to us, right? And it's so important to you. You've been on it 4,722 times.
Yeah.
So
it's I love that character. He just like I love him. I love him. He's in my top 20 Star Wars characters of all time. He's the best. He's awesome.
Awesome. Well, we've made it to number 1.
Oh, I can't wait to hear who your number 1 is.
All right. So
I have a guess.
All right, let's hear your guess.
I'm gonna guess yours is Cal Kestis, and it's like the outfit that I showed you earlier from the Black Series one that I sent you. I don't know the name of the outfit.
Yeah, I would consider that his Oh God, he's got so many different threads in that game. I'd have to go back and look at that. But that's like his main one. But no.
Oh,
So
sweet. Okay.
here's my number one. I mean, it's close. You're close, but not the full cigar. So here's setting this stage real quick. At the end of Fallen Order, when Vader does eventually succumb to killing the second sister, he looks at Cal and it says something to the effect of, "You would have made a great Inquisitor. Like, it's too bad you would have made a great Inquisitor." And then Cal goes on to, obviously, he wouldn't hold a fucking candle to Vader then. I mean, he put up a fight, but Vader would own his ass.
Well, he didn't. He ran away. I mean, to be fair.
Yeah, he runs away, rightfully so. Rightfully
But that's
so.
what you should do when you're up against Vader. I mean, Jesus Christ, what are you gonna do? Fight him?
So we never saw Cal Kestis as an Inquisitor. However, there was a downloadable content several months after the game came out, where you were able to download an Inquisitor outfit for Cal Kestis.
Shut the fuck up! No way.
Along with a red lightsaber, an orange lightsaber too. So my number one is Inquisitor Cal Kestis.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that was a thing, dude.
Yes, look it up. Promise.
Inquisitor Cal.
Content.
Can you still download it?
Yeah. You should be able to. You've got it for Xbox, right?
Yeah. Fuck, dude. Fuck this episode. I'm done with this. I'm gonna say mine real quick. I'm gonna go download that. Does it look cool?
It does.
Oh shit, man! I gotta go play this game again. I know what I'm doing tonight.
Awesome. I'm glad that I could refill your love for Fallen Order.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. That's such a weird line that I didn't even. I mean, think about it. I mean, hell, I didn't even know it existed. But I didn't even consider that would be a possibility. Holy shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, I want it bad. I mean, it's pretty obscure. It's pretty random, but it'd be so cool.
Mine's random too. My number one's
Let's hear
random. All right, so they did a whole Mandalorian line. I mean, for Christ's sake, they did a retro exclusive to the Monopoly version of the Mandalorian, and it was a retro collection. I love it, and it's one of my favorite figures that I own because it's just so hard to find and random. But they did, the carbonized Cara Dune. They did all this shit for the Mandalorian. But you know what who they didn't include with the Mandalorian? Do you know, Tom, who they didn't include?
Who did they not include, Brad?
They didn't include the client.
What?
And I want a Werner Herzog vintage collection figure more than I want most things. Dude, I'm telling you, if they announce that, I love obscure Star Wars characters, not obscure like background, because he's not important to the entire story of The Mandalorian, but he's really important to the first part of The Mandalorian. And yes. I just feel like that he's such a good villain that they just didn't do enough with, which, whatever, that's fine. But to not have him represented in any sort of collectible is insane to me, because especially who the actor that played him. Werner Herzog's the man. I don't know if you've ever seen Grizzly Man.
No.
Oh,
I love how he
God.
says. I love how he pronounces the Mandalorian, though. Like,
the Mandalorian. I just love. It's such. He's not even like a top 10 character for me, top 20 even. But like, just the fact that doesn't exist is odd to me when they did so much other stuff with all the other Mandalorian figures. It's just weird.
Interesting.
It's just weird, but I feel
that's a really good take.
Thank you.
Yeah, give us the client.
Yeah, give me the client, man. What are you doing? I want the client. That'd be cool. In the same way that I liked having a Childish Gambino magic band, I would like a Werner Herzog action figure. I almost put Mayfeld, Bill Burr, but once they announced the Black Series for that, I was like, okay, well, I'll just get that in a bigger scale Black Series. But yeah, the client would be so sick. But yeah, that's our top 10, man. Thanks for doing the podcast tonight, dude. I had a good time.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks for letting me drive tonight on Jedi Talk. I hope I didn't completely fuck it up.
No, you crushed it. It was great. I'm sitting back and I'm enjoying a cigar, and I just had a good time talking Star Wars with my buddy. And I'm going to go inside now. I'm going to watch some trash TV. I don't know if you ever heard of the show Love After Lockup. That's my favorite reality show.
Did you just say Love After Lockup?
Yes.
Yep, Courtney and I watch it. We let it record Friday nights, and then we watch it Saturday morning.
Yes! Yes!
I swear to God.
Dude, I love that show so much.
It makes me feel so much better about myself.
I know, it's Dude, I've said this before. I want to do a commentary of just one episode of that and upload it as a show. I feel like it would crush. That show was so
We have to do
ridiculous.
it.
Dude,
We have.
I am so in. You have no idea. The new season is wild already.
It is. It's
Oh, I
it's
love
it's
it.
just it's so great. But you know what? You know what else is going to be great, and I'll end the show for us here. Is when you, me, and Evan can finally get together and do ourselves a show, huh?
I can't wait, man. I can't wait. We're so it's
In
a month out.
a month out to live. I think we might try it together while I'm in Phoenix and you two are together. I don't know. So be on the lookout for that. But the people can follow you, Brad, at the Brad Ventures on Instagram. And you can follow me at the Fourth Mother Box on all things Instagram, and look for the Fourth Mother Box podcast on Facebook. Brad, any last thoughts for the people before we wrap it up today?
Watch Love After Lockup.
Yes. Watch Love After
I
Lockup.
love it. Oh man, I'm so happy you watched that show. You have
There
no
you go.
idea. I've talked about that show to Evan for like 2 years, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Please, I don't care.
Probably thinks you're crazy.
I'm like, it's a show where guys go to jail or women go to jail, and then they meet him in jail, and they come out, and he's like, okay, I just all right. I'm like, trust me, it's good. Oh,
It's
I love it.
so you want me to close it out like you always close it out, sir?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, of course I'm not going to set it up as well as Brad always does. I already gave you my social media handles, but thank you for joining and thank you for listening. Be on the lookout for us next time. But as always, may the force be with you.
Always.